What's up, y'all? I had to make a new commercial because my eyebrows grew back. So I couldn't keep running that same ad. Plus, a couple people complained. Fuck y'all, first of all. It's a great commercial. But, gotta make the people happy, right? If I want y'all to buy t-shirts, I gotta keep y'all happy, you know? But now that I'm broke and struggling to make ends meet because YouTube demonetized me, you gotta help me not turn homeless, you know, not be homeless. So in order to help me not be homeless, you gotta buy some t-shirts. Hey, even if you don't like me, do it for Kane. Have you seen Kane? Have you seen how beautiful that dog is? Let me show y'all to remind y'all how beautiful Kane is. So let me share the screen. Look at this puppy. Look at, you see that little puppy right there? That's Kane. If you don't buy t-shirts, Kane is gonna go hungry, man. He gonna be homeless, you know what I'm saying? You don't want him to be homeless. So support your boy by buying some tees. Wait a minute. What do y'all see? What do y'all see right now? Y'all see this, right? Y'all see the Teammacho? I'm sharing the screen, so hopefully y'all see this. Yeah, so you just go to the website. It's Teammacho.shop, and you can go for the Game Time tee. You got Game Time on the front, Teammacho on the back, or the I'm Not a Scientist tee. You got I'm Not a effing scientist. I'm a bodybuilder, baby, because that's what we do. You heard? And let me show Stu some love too. It's my boy. Stu is moving to Dallas, so show him some love so he could afford moving to Dallas. You don't want him to have to move to the hood, right? You don't want Stu in the hood. You know, he look a little Puerto Rican. He might fit in, but be careful. You don't want him in the hood. You don't want him getting in no trouble. Support his shirts. You got Beef Stew, Fear to Fro. This is my favorite one, personally. Sophomore season. And then you got the Serious with the Beef Stew. This is cool too, actually, with the abs and thighs. It's a good pose. But this is my favorite, personally. So stop what you're doing right now. Not right now, right now. And go cop you a couple of teas. Cop mine first. And then cop Stu's. But anyways, enjoy the podcast. I'm not supposed to curse, but motherfucker.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You look like you got younger, bro. What's going on, man?
Really?
Yeah, you got some Botox this past week, bro?
When did I do the Botox?
I think like a month ago.
Like a month ago?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, a couple we did it before the wedding, like around here.
Mm-hmm.
Did I do it on my forehead?
You just did like above your brow.
Yeah, I did like above my brow. I'll put a video up on YouTube, yeah.
Okay.
It's funny because I feel like she didn't do enough, but if you notice it, then I'll
Nah, I'm just teasing. That's the trouble area for guys. That forehead wrinkle, you get that early, man.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucked up my screen here.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I mean, for me, I got a lot of like the crow's feet stuff around my eyes, but she actually did really good with that. Because even when I'm not smiling, you can see him through here now. But she wiped. That's what I told her. I was like, wipe out all this shit.
That's where it comes in. I feel like for girls, it's usually this area, the neck area,
yeah.
You know, and the hands. You ever notice the hands? The hands, you know.
You can see like women that take real good care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you think to yourself, man, I know she's older. She might be like 60, but she looks like 40. And then you look at the hands or that area of the neck, and that gives it away. Yeah.
you know, sometimes it looks so natural that you're like, I don't think she got any work done.
Mm-hmm.
But then you see like a picture from like 20 years ago, like, huh, She looks a little different, you know. But I think that means it's a good job. If you do a good job, it almost looks natural. But
yeah,
who's trying to be natural, man? You trying to look good, feel good, man. Fuck that. Fuck that, you know.
Some of these girls take it too far, though. Like,
I mean, shit, guys too. I'm in West Hollywood, so some of the guys.
Yeah. You're right. You're in the epicenter.
yeah. I mean, I feel like because I couldn't actually tell you got Botox. You do look younger, but I couldn't tell. I mean, you know, but I mean when you can see, I don't know. I feel like people get like almost addicted. One girl told me straight up, she's like, "Yeah, I'm just addicted to it," but she's like fine with it. She was young though. She was like at the time. She was my age at the time, maybe like 27-ish, but she was just everything. It was like every time I saw her, it was something different. I'm like, huh, she looks different, you know. She was really pretty to begin with, you know, and she just kept going. I don't know, and to the point, it's like more butt, more boobs, just different face changes. Yeah. It's not even trying to look younger at that point. It's almost like for fun, you know. You got to be careful with that.
We had a girl that was years ago. That was one of my reps, and now she looked very fake. Like she had a very like picture Marilyn Monroe, but like, you know, in 2020 with bodybuilding standards, right? But I had found out that she had completely like revamped herself because she was a porn star in her early 20s. And so you think yourself, porn stars usually look a certain way. But the porn star version of her was actually way more natural looking, except for the fake boobs. Totally different hair, face didn't have anything really done to it. So she like got out of porn and completely changed her image when she got into the bodybuilding world.
That's kind of strange, right? Well, but I guess she wanted to look different on purpose, right?
She changed everything, like her nose, her lips were like 5 times bigger, cheap implants, chin implants, like changed her whole face.
Holy shit! You ever notice that sometimes bodybuilders can be judgmental, not realizing that they're taking a shit ton of drugs, and all that, you know. But even in the bodybuilding world, that guy does a side injection. Oh man, this is. I'm like, boy, there's no rules in this shit, man. What do you mean? Like
when I was young and I was coming up, right, when I was more naive, and I would talk to older guys and I was like convinced that nobody that was competing, none of the top guys were using any kind of Synthol or site enhancement oils. And I had a guy, I'm not going to say his name. He was like, I promise you, Dexter Jackson uses site enhancement oils. He's just perfect at it. He's perfect at it. He's like, I knew Flex Wheeler. They had doctors doing their site enhancement oils for him. They were perfect at it. That's why you can't tell they're doing it. And then later on in my career, I will say the name, shout out to Zach Kahn, taught me how to site inject my posterior delts to get them to pop out with the painless pumps. And he had crazy ass shoulders. So he was like, no, mate, you got to go straight down. No, Zach had crazy shoulders and arms. Yeah. I mean, it's like, okay, here's the thing. Like Dexter and Flex and Kevin, they already had crazy genetics to begin with. Yeah. So like most of us aren't going to look like that by site enhancement. Absolutely.
But it's also like, it's just to help contour more. Or speaking of site enhancement, what's up? I'm just fucking with you, Stu.
See you, dude. Fuck you.
No, but it's like, I think you shouldn't be able to tell, but I think some of us with the eye, I think we can catch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but I don't think judges can catch it unless it's really. Listen, I can look at these lineups and I can tell. I'm also good friends with well, I guess I won't say. I'm really good friends with one of the owners of one of the popular site enhancement oils, and it's like, you know, they tag them and stuff. They won't say it, but they're tagging them and stuff, and you gotta pay attention to the clues. You know, shit. They tag me too sometimes.
Yeah, of course. I remember back in like, well, I'll say probably like 2007 or 8 when it was me and Guy And Evan was doing his own thing, and I know Evan. I honestly don't think Evan ever messed with any site enhancement stuff personally. Evan's he was really like basic with everything that he did.
Yeah, his arms were like all real
crazy. His arms were crazy. Guy, his arms really lagged. So Palumbo taught us how to do exactly how he wanted us to do the site injections. But Guy had ordered this stuff. I'll never forget it. Because it was a Chris Clark pump and pose, and there was something wrong with one of the batches, but we didn't know. And this is old school, bro. So Guy does it, and he's so messed up. He's got like bags of ice on his arms, like laying in his bed. He's like sweating. And he's telling me this, and I'm like, he's just being a pussy, right? So I wasn't even hitting my biceps, I was hitting my delts, but I just wanted to see if he was just being a pussy. So I did it also. And then Dave was like, no, I told you guys not to do that stuff. There's something wrong with that whole batch. I can get your money back. Bro, it swelled so bad, dude. My arms were I had to wear long sleeve shirts for like over a week because they were so red and swollen and hot. It was scary, dude. Like I was like so worried that something bad was gonna happen, but eventually it all went down.
I don't think the guy didn't continue doing it after that, right? It didn't look like he had.
No, anything. He still did. He didn't use that particular stuff anymore.
Okay, he didn't do a lot. Honestly, I think most of them. I wouldn't mess with most brands of like SEOs. Besides, I would say what do they call it? It's the Boston one. I forget the name of it. It's called 3cc.
Formula 1, 2, and 3.
Formula 1, 2, and 3.
Boston was so funny when he was alive because he would he wouldn't ever drop names, right? But like he would say like there's some really big names that buy his shit, you know?
Yeah,
and he kind of allude to like, you know, big name guys. I remember I think Sergio got mad at him for something. And he was like, hey, dude, I sent you some shit for free. Like, why are you getting mad at me?
I think I kind of remember that, actually.
Yeah. He wouldn't say, I mean, yeah, because, he's trying to protect their. Now, if he didn't like you for some reason, then maybe he wouldn't care, but he's trying to protect their.
He actually, that's the only time I remember him ever saying anyone's name, you know?
Yeah. That's funny. No, his is good. I do like painless pumps as well. You gotta be careful though, like certain body parts. For me in particular, I have short, round muscle bellies, so shit can get funky really, really quick. I think it looks best on people like Kevin Levrone. He kind of had long muscle bellies.
Yeah,
he looked round though, but he had like a long bicep, a long tricep. Tricep came down to his fucking elbow. I think it looks really good on that. Flex had some peakier body parts, so it started looking a little funky later on in his career. So I can't do arms. I could do some shoulders. I could do quad sweep. I could do calves, but calves kind of waste of time because it hurts like a bitch, and nobody judges calves.
One thing I never met. I was always scared. Fortunately, my calves are big. I was always scared to stick anything in my calves, man. It just seems like it would hurt. And I talk to people that are like, man, that's the most painful spot to do.
It's horrible. Like every once in a while, I'll look at like, I'm not just like, okay, I'll look at Andrew Jack's calves, right? And I'm like, oh shit. I don't know what Andrew does, but I know what it looks like. And I'm like, that looks pretty good. Even though it looks like what I think it looks like, let me try it out. And then I try it out.
I think Andrew just looks like that. I think,
I think so. Yeah. Because he has short, peaky, short, peaky body parts, right? I mean, you thought I was pinning my biceps when you met me, remember?
Well, I remember going to the 22 USAs. I was like, your arms were like unusually pointy. I was like, what the fuck? And they weren't like separated because I guess you weren't in shape yet. And now, like when you get in shape all the way, there's like you can.
It looks better. You see your striations. Even off season, they look kind of sus, but they get really separated, right? But yeah. So it's like I think Andrew actually looks like that. If I'm being honest, the calves though, I'm not 100% sure. Everything else though, but I'll try it for like I'll go maybe a month or 2 months, and I'm like, I can't do this, man. I just can't. And you get to a point where blood starts fucking, like flying out the calves. It's just I'm like, this is what the fuck. You ever sit there at I think we all have these moments. You sit there as a bodybuilder, whether it's like a trend cough or something, you're like, what the fuck am I doing, bro? What the fuck am I doing to myself? You know, and you sit there for like 30 minutes, like, is it that serious? Why am I doing this? And you're like, fuck this. So then eventually I just stopped the calves. They're not even judging calves, so why would I put that much pain into it, you know?
Now, remember when Dexter had like crazy blown up calves in like 98 or 99?
Bro, just randomly, yeah.
And then they were just gone the next year.
And then when he won the Olympia, all you heard was everybody say, "How could somebody win the Olympia with no calves?" And I'm like, you guys haven't been paying attention to bodybuilding for a long time.
Okay, I don't think this happens really in any other body part, even though people say it does. But in calves in particular, I think if you do it and stop, I think it gets smaller, bro. I think it actually gets smaller.
Well, I can tell you this. My shoulders, right? I spent so much time site injecting my shoulders, and I think that I have permanent nerve damage all throughout my shoulders because I've went and gotten a bunch of testing done, and I've tried everything with exception to surgery. Like I've had dry needling procedures done, and the posterior and medial delt, they don't even fire anymore. And that's where I was doing all of the site enhancements. Like I never really got into like aggressively hitting anything with exception to my posterior and medial delt heads. And on my, like what, if I take off my shirt, people are always like, damn, you're way leaner than I thought you were. And I'm like, this because I got no width in my shoulders because I've atrophied so much. And no matter what I do, I've tried everything with exception of surgery. I really believe that it's from all those site enhancements at the end of my career.
Don't tell me that.
That's something I tell people. Like if you're going to go like aggressively in one area, make sure you're getting like frequent deep tissue massage. Don't use too big of needles. Don't get too carried away with it for too long.
Oh no, I use huge needles and I never get deep tissue work.
Yeah, man. I used to use like 1.5 inch needles because we were going straight down, right? And you wanted to get it. The theory was to go straight down so you could lift it all out. And I still, I got a fair amount of deep tissue. I was pretty good about it, like once a week. But I think that just from bombarding that area, that's why that people are like, oh, dude, you need to do more laterals. I'm like, I promise you, I've done 1,000 steps of laterals at this point. They're just not coming back,
Hey, Stu, do you still got your audio?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You hear me?
I thought I couldn't hear you. Yeah.
Can I ask how we got onto this topic?
I don't know.
Oh, he said I looked like I had some Botox done since last time.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast with Nick Trigilli that got put up a few days ago, actually, and they were talking a lot about site enhancement because Nick did it a whole ton, and he was also there in Venice when they were doing it a ton over there. And he was talking about how Charles Glass was like, Charles is like the training guru who does all kinds of weird fucking shit with angles and whatever. Whatever. But apparently he is a master when it comes to like spot injecting people.
Yeah, Flex Wheeler told me that.
Filling up little spots on you all over and just kind of sculpting your muscle with oil.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I live here, so I live here, so I am aware of that. But I don't think anybody said that on the camera before. Should we keep that in?
That's what Trigilli said. Like,
yeah. So, I mean, Nick,
if he said it, then it's out there. Then it's out there. If he said it already, then fuck it.
Actually, no. I was talking to Regan about that in Dubai, and he said like the exact same thing about the guys, like the Venice guys in the posing room up there. They would have like a fucking table full of syringes laid out, and then they hit all these little spots, and then they go train. I've
done it too.
Barely fucking move because there's so much oil in you.
I've done that, but now with Charles, but I've done it.
Back when I was in the very early stages of Keon Pearson with Blackstone Labs, when it was basically we had him and Flex together all the time. And I would just pick Flex's brain like crazy. Like we'd go out to eat. And it'd be funny because me and Flex would go out to eat, but he wouldn't let Keon eat at that time. So I would just pick his brain. And I heard like all the old school stories, like stuff like that, like before the show, like the day before the show in the hotel room posing and filling things out to make sure they look perfect, which is crazy because even in that moment, like if he pulled up his sleeve and flexed his arm, his biceps are nuts still. but they just, they went to that level of preciseness with it.
Well, but you said the thing about the shoulders, which is funny because I was just thinking it doesn't seem like. I definitely noticed it with the calves and the shoulders. Now that you mention it, but with the arms, like if you look at Marcus Rule biceps or Flex's arms, Flex's shoulders are down. If you know, Flex's shoulders are down a lot, but his arms aren't down. Something about the shoulder, for some reason, seems to atrophy from it, but the arms not so much, right?
The arms they still have volume to them, but it doesn't quite look like regular muscle. It looks like there's something sitting in there,
like scar
tissue or like pockets of something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only ever hit my arms. I put gear in other spots, right? But like, I've only ever put Boston stuff in my arms, and pretty conservatively compared to what I've heard people do.
Yeah.
So like, I don't like. I'll get some crunchiness in my biceps sometimes, but like, I don't. There's not a lot of scar tissue in there. I don't think it still moves properly, right?
It's pretty light too. The bar. Okay. Which one did you use, PJ? What did you use the most?
The original, not SE Clan, but the original. It said Synthol on the bottle.
Synthol by Synthetech?
That Dave Palumbo used to sell them right on his website.
Is it Synthol? I think that's Synthol.
That's Synthol by Synthetech. Yeah, that's the original.
Did he switch over to painless pumps?
Yeah, like old. I'm talking old school. This is going back, 2005, 6, 7. So,
I think Boston's formula and painless pumps are a lot milder than some of the old stuff. Like you don't feel that clogging effect. Like you pin Boston or painless pumps, you feel the same, right? You don't feel like, oh, I'm all clogged up, right? I think the original ones did a lot more atrophy than. I don't think this is going to have as much atrophy. I guess we don't know until the next 20 years.
Well, I know. I can tell you that I've spoken to people that say that the guys out in Oxygen Gym, like in that territory, that they're using mostly hyaluronic acid.
Exactly. That's the metaform. It's a hyaluronic acid, but you can't just get the ones in the powder. This one it's like a really. It looks like semen. Honestly, it has the texture of semen. It looks like semen as well, and it's really thick and goopy. But it that's the most dramatic one. Literally, I don't give a fuck about. I'll say it. I was pinning when Compton was here. I was pinning my like rear delts. It was just looking small, and it would literally like lump up. Like when I say 3 inches within minutes, and Compton was like, "You like 3 days out, bro? What the fuck is going on?" I'm like, "It's gonna go down. Don't worry about it." And it obviously did go down. But I leave like 3 days because if I did that before, some people do it before the stage, that shit would look ridiculous. That shit swells up like a whole inch. So that I don't know what that means. I mean, some of these guys in Kuwait, some of it might not be muscle because I mean, it looks like if you shoot it correctly, you can literally add 3 inches overnight.
Well, I've shot some guys up with Nolotol before they've gotten on stage before.
I've tried that, yeah. I've tried that.
Which it worked. Yeah, it only worked for a few days. Yeah.
Volatile is like it blurs shit a lot more, right?
Yeah, but when guys are really, really lean and it just fills it out, it actually looks pretty good.
I wasn't that lean when I tried it.
Yeah,
but, it looked pointy to me.
Blue in his last show, the last time he competed, this is a while ago now. Like he put, I think it was Nolotil into his arms, and he just blew them the fuck up. And he didn't do it.
Did he use a lot?
I don't know how much he used, honestly, but it was like blown up, huge and blurry, like very blurry.
Yeah.
And so like, but at that point he was just like, "Fuck it, I just want to see how big I can get my arms."
Show.
And it looks very strange.
Yeah, because a little goes a long way. I don't know if you guys remember, there was a year Craig Richardson at the Olympia loaded his arms up, and he looked amazing. It was a good showing for him. And they pushed him down because of that. And they did that to Max Charles one year with the arms too. But so this particular guy who had a good career, what he would do is, they come in 5 milliliter amps. So you take that amp and you load up a shitload of needles with it, of insulin needles, and you do it all over the place. And it kind of just makes everything look like you have a really good pump. So, and rather than just using it in one or two spots, you're putting it in multiple spots of the chest, multiple parts of the shoulders, through the biceps, through the triceps, in the lats, and you kind of just fill everything out with it. And it was actually pretty cool to see it, like the few times that I've been present for it. I was always too scared to do that when I was competing because I felt like I'd fuck it up.
You gotta be careful.
Looking at pictures of Craig, you said Craig Richardson, right?
Yeah.
I kind of want to see it too, eh?
His arms are large. There's there's one picture of him where his arms are just way bigger than all the other pictures I'm looking at.
You could see when he would hit the most muscular, and it was because we knew him because he's from New Jersey, he was from our area, and we were like, "Yo, what did Craig do? His arms are already big." He was almost on like Phil Heath level of arms at that one show. Just that one.
I think you don't want there to be such a big difference like that all of a sudden. Like we said with Dexter's calves, you can't just be like no calves 1 year and then triple the size. That's too suspicious. But I was gonna say I feel like with the Naruto, I tried it 1 year and it looked kind of pointy. For my muscle bellies, it didn't look good at all.
Yeah,
it just looked just looked pointy as fuck. So it wasn't one of my favorites. But I do like the Metaform. You just have to be we got to be really precise with some of this.
I think that's probably what's most common now.
Yeah.
It's progressed a long way. Actually, Ed Connors, I don't know if me and you ever talked about this, told me that the doctor that was working on Mike Matarazzo after Mike Matarazzo died, his theory was that his heart complications came from the Synthol use.
Oh, he had a lot of Synthol.
That was Ed Connors just told me that like verbatim, right straight from his mouth, that once you've gotten a certain amount of this oil in your system that doesn't dissipate, eventually makes its way to your heart.
It has to leave the body. How does it leave the body?
Yeah,
I don't know. I've never thought about that.
Yeah, but I mean, every other injection that we do, right, it gets broken down and metabolized. I mean, if you have something like silica in like a site enhancement oil, that might make it stick around for longer, which could potentially lead to like a buildup, right? But like, is that going to go to your heart? Like, you're going to have all of a sudden like an oil embolism that just goes straight there.
It's
like because Mike Matarazzo was doing a lot of other unhealthy shit.
Yeah,
right?
very true. Absolutely.
I don't think the newer formulas do that, but from what it looked like, the old formulas, it appeared to just sit in the fucking muscle like a
they would say that the old formula, like the original Synthol, it would take at least 9 months to a year to totally be out of your system completely. That's a long time.
That's okay. So basically, I was doing.
I mean, look at Greg Valentino. How are his arms still like that? You know what I mean?
He's never done Synthol, bro. Never.
He's done the low dose equipoise, right, with all that oil that was coming from Mexico, right? The 50 milligram per milliliter that he said he was using, and God only knows what was in that shit from Mexico in the 90s. And his arms are still that abnormally swollen. Like, it's got to still be sitting in there.
And he's still alive. He's like 60. He's like 60. What, 62? He's alive too. That's
No, I think he's doing fine actually, Greg. I like Greg.
yeah. So I was doing painless pumps, and I keep forgetting the name. The formula. One of the formulas about the formula. I was like going back and forth through them in my shoulders for prep, and prep has been like 8 weeks ago. It's pretty much gone, but like you keep a little bit of it, which I'm fine with. If you keep all of it, I don't think that's a good thing. That means this shit is sitting there.
Yeah.
So I keep some of it.
I'm pretty off and on with like hitting my arms because, like you said, it's annoying as hell. Like it's really uncomfortable. And every time that I've gone from like using it for maybe like 4 to 6 weeks in a row to stopping, I've lost maybe a little fullness, but like it doesn't go anywhere. And like, but I'm also like not using very much. I'll hit it like the most I've ever used is 12 cc's in a week.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
not
Which-
that's
which
yeah.
some people will put 12 cc's in arm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, is this the first time you're talking about this publicly? Have you ever talked about this?
No, I think I have.
Okay.
I don't really care, dude.
Yeah, yeah, but it's like I feel like it. I know a lot of people who use this, and some of them come off for quite some time, and it doesn't. They keep a lot of the gains. I don't know exactly what you're keeping, but I feel like as much as the muscle expands, I think to some extent you can get. At least it feels like you're getting better pumps. You're getting more blood flow. You're stretching.
Definitely.
I want to say you're stretching the fascia. I know that's bro science.
So something what I noticed the first time I ever used it was like I used it the first time I prepped with Blue on that schedule, basically like 12 cc's a week, right? It hit the rebound and I didn't use it at all, but like my arms started growing like crazy. I didn't use it the entire off season, and then I came to the USA's and I had really good arms or good arms. I hadn't used it the whole off season. What I think happened was like throughout that whole prep, like I was hitting them consistently, stretching out the fascia, and then when I finally had a bunch of food and like training intensity, and all the shit that you need to grow, then I had this kind of unfilled balloon, and it all just filled up.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So
I can see that.
You don't. I have, like I said, I don't use it super consistently because it's a pain in the ass. But I think that, and again, the volume that I'm using is pretty minimal. I think that's why my arms don't look fucked up.
I can see that.
I'm still like worried about it all the time.
Yeah, no, your arms look great.
Your arms, it doesn't look suspicious at all, neither.
No,
I really did my arms for one prep. I shot my arms consistently, and I've never had to shoot arms after that because my arms grew like 2 inches that prep, and all of a sudden I have a better connection with my arms. It's almost like they continue to grow after the fact, if that makes sense. So now my arms are like, something is a strong point, something is not, but I think it's arms okay. I don't know.
With your arms, like the because of the shape of them, you've kind of got like pointy biceps and then like that skinny kind of tricep kind of horseshoe. It's like loading it full of oil isn't going to make it look better. It'll make it look pointier, but odd.
It might look worse because now it's like, why do you have pointy ass arms? Like, what the fuck?
Well, that's essentially how Ronnie Coleman's arms are shaped. He's got very pointy biceps, and he has that long, thin tricep.
Yeah.
So
I don't think Ronnie ever shot up. And
I don't think so.
I think that's smart. I think that would look.
I don't think so either.
I don't think that would look good. Now, Kai had short biceps and short triceps. I think Kai did shoot up though, because I would see different shows. One show his arms would look really big, and one show his arms wouldn't. And did it look kind of funky? Okay, did it look better, bigger? I don't know if it did. He would hit the most muscular, and it would be like really pointy. I don't think, like, especially when you got to stand next to Phil, it's not much you can do, right? I don't think nobody was really looking at his arms. I think we were looking at his back and legs and other shit. So his arms were kind of like, nah. It's like Sean Roden. You didn't really have to look at his arms to appreciate his physique. I think he could have looked really good if he shot up his arms because he had longer muscle bellies.
Roden shot his arms.
I think there was a couple. I think there was maybe that year he had the hair. His arms were pretty big that year. I think there was couple years.
No separation in them.
No, he had
very little.
Maybe he did, and he just didn't have good arm genetics. But I saw certain years that it looked like he did.
Who'd he hang out with, bro? Fucking Charles Glass and the Venice crew.
I didn't think about
that. Venice crew is suspect. Yeah, you know it.
Good point.
You know it.
Guilt by association.
His body would. You see this man 12 weeks out. He looked like a Jamaican uncle, bro. Like a Jamaican uncle at the barbecue. and you would be like, "What the fuck?" Every week, he's not just getting leaner. He's like getting bigger. Yeah. He's like also he's getting the jawline. He's like a different. It's like a different person. Like how? I honestly think he. Well, I don't think I know. He's told me he would just eat all season. He would just eat whatever the fuck he wanted. There was no plan. There was whether it's hot dogs, or Mexican food. He didn't give a fuck, And the workouts.
Yesterday. I went to Costco. I got a hot dog, chicken bacon in the fridge actually for today.
Oh wow, that's But I think people said he didn't train. He did train. I would see him there sometimes, but sporadically, like I don't know, like once or twice a week. So he didn't completely stop training, but it wasn't real training. It wasn't like the way he trained. So I don't know if that makes you a hyper responder or you're just not training off season. I don't know if and I also don't know if they would be better if they like him and Levroni. Would they be better if they didn't, or would they just overtrain and burn out? You can't know.
I mean, those guys hit the genetic lottery. It's tough to criticize anything that they did.
That's because with Levroni, people say, well, he would have won the Olympia if he didn't do that. But would he have beat Ronnie or Dorian?
I mean, he would he have though? Because he had a hernia one year. He trained really, really hard. So how long did he train that hard for if he knew his own body to take that time out?
That's what I'm thinking.
People always talk about how Dorian trained, but when Dorian started training like that, he started fucking his body up, and then he retired. If Kevin knew, like, I can go this crazy hard for this much time, and this is what works for me, and then taking off, and he could keep coming back. I mean, that's just genetically hitting the lottery. Good for him.
Okay, and go back before the pec tear, when he used to train year round. He got bigger when he stopped training. He got bigger after the fact. So when he was training year round, he was actually smaller. I don't know if that could just be a time thing. I don't know. But and then with Sean, can you say Sean already won the Olympia? So you can't say what if he already won the Olympia, and he beat Phil Heath, which is I don't know a top 2 best of all time. So I don't know if they would be better. To be honest, I don't know. What's up, Zay?
What's up, dudes?
Hey, what's going on, man?
PJ,
how are you?
Very good. See you, man.
Yeah, nice to see you here. I'm happy to be here with you guys today.
Same.
I feel like I didn't introduce myself. I'm Stu. Hi.
I know who all you guys are. I'm still a fan of the sport, so I appreciate being able to jump in here with you guys.
Yeah. I feel like PJ he's like getting to live like a different life, if that makes sense. Like part 2 of his life. He's like in a different chapter. You seem like just peaceful.
Very peaceful. Yeah.
Do you feel like things that used to stress you no longer stress you?
Man, everybody that I've been to prison with has the same attitude now. It's like you think to yourself, like, this isn't shit compared to prison. Anytime something stressful is happening. Yeah. But one thing that people keep saying to me, and it makes me think, like, because when I went to prison, I thought I was a good guy anyway. But people keep saying, man, like, this version of you is so humble. You're so humble. And
what are you trying to say?
I didn't think that I wasn't humble before. So I've been getting that a lot. So it's made me look at things a little bit differently. But my life now is very similar to how it was when I was coming up in bodybuilding. Like, my days are kind of based around training and eating. And I don't really have the responsibilities that I had when I was running Blackstone Labs and doing all that. So it's a lot easier to be peaceful in this lifestyle, for sure.
Yeah, you seem wiser, I would say. But maybe I need to go to jail because I'm highly stressed. I get stressed very easily.
Yeah, don't say
that. Don't do that.
I don't recommend it.
No.
I don't show it or I don't talk about it, but I get stressed pretty easily. I don't know, man. I feel like there's always like a cloud over my head, like shit I got to do and shit that I'm stressing about. I think most people feel like that, though, right? You guys feel like that too, right?
I think that in prison, one of the things that I took from prison that I tell people all the time, and I've talked about it with you, is because in prison your day is the same every day, right? It's Groundhog Day. So it's really easy to go crazy in there. So you start looking forward to things and you change your mindset where you're like, man, I can't wait to read this book later. Like, I got this new book that I'm going to read, or I can't wait to go out to the yard tomorrow and train. So it teaches you to stay in that moment and really find silver linings and find the positives in anything. So when for me now, like, there's a lot of things that I'm mad about, of course. Like, I'm not even allowed to be a part of my own company. That's pretty annoying. But I wake up, the first thing I do is go to the gym because it's my favorite thing to do. So while I'm there, I'm like, this is my favorite thing in the world to do, and they can't take this away from me. Now, once I get that done, I'm like, how bad could the rest of my day be if I already got to do my favorite thing, and I'm going to get to do it again tomorrow? And it just by taking those little like steps throughout the day, it's really changed my mindset on things.
if you want to be a grateful person, you have to have something stripped from you to feel it, right?
Yeah.
Like right now, I don't feel very grateful. I'm just like living day to day, right? The moment I get, so I have like respiratory issues, right? So if I get a common cold, it's like I'm half dead, right?
Yeah, that's scary.
Boom, I get a cold. Once I hit, I'm like, I just want to get better. Once I get better, I'll be grateful, and I get better, and I appreciate being healthy so much, right? But you have to get your health taken away just to appreciate your own health. If not, you don't even think about it. You just take it for granted. You just complain about shit. Fuck this. Fuck that. You get anything taken away from you, all of a sudden you appreciate, everything else, so much, right? So I think we should try to appreciate things anyways, but we're probably not until we go through some shit, Even having like let's say my ex, even having like a partner, right? She was a really good partner actually, but while you're in it, you're kind of like, this is just normal, and then when they go out, you're kind of like, she's actually pretty good, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of times you have to lose something to appreciate it. Unfortunately, we can't. We can't just be grateful. You know what I'm saying? I want to ask PJ, what did you do the most in prison to pass time?
Read. I read like crazy.
What were some of the most crucial books you read that helped you get through prison the most?
Fiction. I really enjoyed the Red Rising series, was outstanding. Atlas Shrugged, Ayn Rand was a phenomenal book. Disappointed in the movie they made out of it. When I got home, I checked it out. It was terrible. And on the nonfiction side, I think one of the most interesting books that I've talked about a bunch of times was called The Mind-Gut Connection by Dr. Irv Mayer. And it's really interesting on basically like the microbiome in your gut, how it acts almost like your brain in the way that what you eat and what you put in your body dictates your depression, your anxiety, and all these other things. And it actually made a lot of sense. And really, based on that book, one of the things I would take away from it is people that eat like a Mediterranean lifestyle with, not a lot of red meat, more fish, poultry, greens, and really like vegetable sources of fats like olive oil, avocados, things like that, really have the best overall as far as longevity, as far as how they are emotionally. There's a lot of really interesting. There are things in it that really point more towards vegan than carnivore side of things, although I would never become a vegan. But it's very, very interesting.
I think if you wanted to live as long as possible, I think having majority, I don't know if it's all, but majority plant-based and as little meals as possible. Like, so if you could eat 1 or 2 meals a day max and let your body detox the whole day, you would live a lot longer. You probably wouldn't look very nice.
It's very interesting to see the way that this doctor would break down like the physiological effect of food in your gut versus mental status, which I thought was very interesting. I read so many different things in there, but I'll tell you the books that I didn't really enjoy. And I read so many of them because people would send me, when you're in prison, people are like, let me send this guy like self-help books, right? And, like The Power of Now is a popular one. And they're good books. I'm not saying they're not good books, but they're all kind of based around the same principles. So if you've read one, you can kind of like understand for the most part how they're all going to be. And they become very redundant. And when you're in there, those books I actually found could have almost a negative impact on me because I'd want to go and apply stuff so bad. Like there was things that I saw could make me a better businessman instantly that I was doing wrong. Like I read a book called Ego is the Enemy. And there were things that I took away from that where I was like, this makes a lot of sense. But then I'd be sitting there, cleaning the bathroom like I have to do every other day that I'm there. You can't really apply it. So fiction was like an escape. Like you get into like a good series and you just get lost in the books and the time passes by. And then of course not everybody, but most people get closer to religion in prison, whether you're Muslim or Jewish. There's guys that become Jewish in prison. There's guys that become Muslim in prison. There's guys that become born again. You get closer with your faith and you get into that also.
Yeah, could you almost need some
gangs?
What's that?
Jewish prison gangs.
Fortunately, at the camp, you don't really see gangs, but there are guys that, because they want the better food, become Jewish and Muslim because they get kosher meals that are better than all the other meals. And it's ridiculous because you'll see they'll call them Muslim meals, and all of a sudden you'll see this random like redneck-ass looking dude going up there with the Muslim guys. Like, you're the only white dude there. You're Muslim. And they'll be like, Assalamu alaikum, my brothers. Assalamu alaikum. Like, they really try to, like, sell it. It's ridiculous. It's always the most, like, crackhead neck-looking guys, too.
What you're saying is the Jew found a loophole. Okay.
Good job, man. Good job, man. Oh, man. That would have been me for sure in prison.
How's the quality when the food is served? I'm really curious to know. Is it a good portion?
I don't think so, Zay. I don't think.
Let me tell you something that is so. As a bodybuilder, I know it would drive any bodybuilder crazy. They would over prepare so much food, but you can't get. They won't give you second portions. Like where I was, they will not let you have a second portion, and they would dump it all out in the garbage right in front of everybody. So like, if it was a chicken day, the chicken's always like shredded. And they'll give it to you with like some rice or beans, and there'll be trays of it that you watch them just dumping all out in the garbage. You could go up there and be like, hey, can I please get a second portion? And, you know, sometimes they'll be cool, but most of the time they're like, no, and they throw it out. Because they'll give you a shot for giving people extra food because there's all these rules. It's crazy.
See, back in the day when I was a hoodlum, man, I thought I wasn't scared. I thought I wasn't scared to go to prison. But not for the reasons. Now I'm like, I'm really bad at following rules. How the fuck would I survive prison? Because I hate rules. I hate being told what to do. I hate following rules. So I would just destroy myself mentally, I think, more than anything. I think the actual interaction part is what I thought would be the way. I'm like, oh, I'm not scared of that shit. But losing your freedom is scary, man. Who wants to lose their fucking freedom? That's the scary part. Fuck the physical part. You join a gang and get a shank or something.
Man, I hate to see anybody. I hate to see any non-violent person have to go through that because there's just no place to be.
That's horrible, man.
You're a raper or a murderer, that they belong in prison. But in these non-violent crimes, like you meet these guys in there, and you're like, "What the hell is this guy doing in here?"
Should you even go to prison if it's non-violent? If you're not a threat? Let's say if it's a financial thing. Oh, so how about you just sue the shit out of the person? Give me all your money. Do you have to go to jail?
They do that too. But, I mean, the American justice system they don't care about rehabilitation. They say they do, but they don't. It's a punishment system, not rehabilitation.
Yeah,
if you look at like European models, which admittedly are sometimes pretty wacky, like they have much shorter prison sentences, even for really heinous crimes like murder, rape, all this stuff, right?
What you looking at for murder in Europe?
There's an example. There's a guy I believe he was in the Netherlands or one of the Scandinavian countries. He killed like over 50 people. He's a neo-Nazi.
Nice.
And he was sentenced to like 25 years. Like he's going to be out of prison eventually.
That's not bad.
And this is a guy who showed like zero remorse, threw a Nazi salute when he was sentenced. Like, he's going to be out,
Okay.
So that's an extreme example, but like, I mean, on the flip side, like you have people in prison for life for like, marijuana charges here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy. Absurd. I was locked up with a lot of guys on marijuana charges.
Dude, it's so weird to me. Like, I'm going to be moving to Texas soon, right? And I've lived on the West Coast for a lot of my life. I live in Arizona, Washington, and Oregon. Weed is just normal there. Yep. Nobody cares, And Texas, you can go to jail for it. it's like
weed is illegal. It's not illegal in Texas.
They have, I believe, you can get CBD weed there through dispensaries.
Whoa. That's crazy.
But like regular cannabis, no, it's illegal.
I wasn't aware of this, man. This might change my.
Yeah, Dallas sounds so good.
So much for Destination Dallas.
I didn't know about this, Stu. You didn't mention this, Stu? Come on,
you didn't know?
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know that either.
Texas.
I assume weed was legal everywhere. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the world. It's just weed, man.
Mind.
Damn. Okay. I might have to do a bi-coastal thing. I don't know if I can do that, man.
I don't know if that's due to change or anything like that, or if there's like, medical options or whatever. But yeah, it's a different place for sure.
But they all smoke over there, right? All our friends smoke.
A lot of my friends do over there. I don't personally do it much.
Delta 9, that shit is like legal weed, I guess. What's it called? Delta 9, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to do no Delta 9. What's that?
It's like synthetic cannabinoids. It's not good.
Sound like K2.
K2 is scary, bro.
I don't think it's as bad as that. But
K2 is all over the prisons, man. All over.
Really?
They can't test for it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so there's guys just walking around like zombies on this stuff in prison. I didn't even know what it was until I went to prison. And I'm telling you that it is rampant. In every single stop that I was at, the first day I'd be there, guys would be like, you need any deuce? You need any tooch? And it took me a while to understand what they were asking me because I don't...
Coochie?
Yeah, I didn't know what they were asking me. And then finally, this guy was like, man, K2, man, stay away from that shit. And I was like, what is that? I don't even know what it is. And he was like, it's like synthetic marijuana. And I'm like spice? That's the only synthetic marijuana I know. But they spray it on paper. And they get it all mailed in. So there's no way to even really stop it because, you get your legal mail, places that stop your mail. What a lot of the prisons were doing is they'll take the mail, photocopy whatever you got sent in, and give it to you. But they can't do that to your legal mail. So that's how it gets into the prisons. And a little piece like this, they could get 50 people high on that. And it makes its way around, and you see these guys. It's crazy.
Hey, if I'm doing, how long you did, PJ, in prison?
I got out in 22 months.
If I do 22 months, I might try to locate K2 half the time fly. I might take a little dab. Zay would take a dab at K2.
You see some of these guys. I would be like, "What's the high like?" And they'd be like, "It's amazing." But then you see the guys that just do a little bit too much, and they're on the ground like making weird noises and acting like zombies and shit. And it's like, to me, that would be. I was way too scared of anything. I did one time. I don't even drink anymore. When I was at the detention center in Miami, I did have a cup of hooch just to say that I did it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And these guys, like, it was funny because this dude next to me, right? This is how stupid I was when I got to prison. I don't want to waste your guys' time with prison stories, but I was like, damn, bro. There was this jacked guy that always wanted the oranges, right? And I'm like, damn, this dude eats so many oranges. Like, what's up with the oranges, And like, I would give him my orange every day because the oranges were nasty. But I didn't realize they take all the fruit, put it in a garbage bag, tie it up with like sugar and a couple other things, and they hide it up into the ceiling. And they let it sit there for like a week with a straw out the top so it ferments. And then they strain it out and they sell it like $5 a cup. And it basically turns into wine.
Damn!
Wow!
Nobody gets sick from that jail.
I'm sure people do. I mean, by the time I got to the camp, they had real alcohol that was getting snuck in that way. So,
boom, he good. All right,
damn.
Let's. You guys want to
full story?
you guys want to talk bodybuilding a little bit?
Let's do it.
I like prison stories more than bodybuilding. No, I can't lie. I like
same.
A lot more interesting.
No gear in there. Nobody snuck in.
Oh yeah, good question.
Like some super draw. So
the guys that were in Pensacola that I talked to in the halfway house, they said they had everything in there. They said they had all kinds. They had tests, everything. They had guys that even brought in creatine, whatever. Where I was, man, they were so strict in there. There was a situation where a guy smuggled in some oral things and some Anavar came in. I actually had guys that were getting Blackstone Lab supplements in there, just guys that were worked off base. But there was one day, and in the program that I was in, people would they would tell on you. That was the way it was. They raided this common area and they found syringes and a bottle of some kind of steroids in there, right?
Nice.
And it became the whole biggest deal because nobody would fess up to it. And so everybody was like joking around, like, Braun, they found your steroids. Braun, they found their steroids. Well, I had to I got on the microphone and I was like, look, you guys can test me right now. You can piss, take my blood, whatever. I'm not getting in trouble for this. And everybody keeps joking that it's mine. And I get it. It's funny, but I don't appreciate that being put on me. No, eventually, the guy that was doing it, you can't even make shit like this. He got thrown off the compound because he was going to the medical office and hitting on one of the nurses there. And I guess basically what happened was he kept saying he wanted to get his blood pressure tested, and he went in there and he had an erection while he was sitting in the chair, and he was going, "Damn, girl, look what you're doing to me when I come in here." And one of the other nurses saw they had an erection, and they called the lieutenants, and they threw him off. And it finally came out. They were like, man, the steroids were making him crazy, man. They were making him horny. He was the one that was doing it. It was fucking ridiculous.
I was thinking about that, though. Like, I don't know if I want to take a test in prison. You know, it's going to get weird. It's going to get weird in there.
Oh, I didn't have any sexual thoughts the entire time I was in there.
You're probably better off that way. You know?
Way better off being like that.
Yeah. All right, let's see what's going on in bodybuilding. Anything? I guess we had.
Weekend.
Oh yeah, good point. Good point. All right. Is this the best place to check Bodybuilding Without Borders?
Usually is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at Regan. Regan looking fluffy. He looked big though.
296, yeah, big boy.
Yeah, he's gonna be. I mean, he's been growing, right? Like, I think his last Olympics. I don't think he's ever gonna be like a mass monster, but he's growing. It looks like Detroit and New York Pro. Yeah,
he's pretty damn big, dude. Like,
yeah,
he competes at like 270, right? So,
yeah. That 1 year standing next to Crizzo, you kind of like, huh? He is big though, but Crizzo people just look at him like he's a mass monster, right? Whereas Regan kind of has already the name more aesthetic, even though some of the aesthetic guys like Samson or Brandon Curry, they're actually just as big as a lot of the bigger guys. Regan is a big guy, man. He's a big dude.
Yeah. You guys ever seen him in person? Like,
yeah, he looks a lot rounder in person. Like a lot, he looks bubbly as fuck.
He's tall. You know, he's at least 5'11".
Yeah, for sure. At least. Oh. All right. Hey, Stu, I didn't know you did a 212.
Wait.
What is it? Oh, no, he did. This guy, I don't know how he makes 212. He looks fucking massive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He literally looks like Stu's size for some reason. He must be
He's short, bro. I've met him in person.
He got to be short to do that. All right. Who the fuck is this? Damn. That's pretty.
That's the dude that switched from Classic.
The Classic.
He switched. Yep, I saw that with him the other day. Mm-hmm.
Wait, he switched from what to what?
Classic to Open.
Yeah.
And he did a show? What show did he do?
No, he just did that.
Asian Grand Prix in Korea.
Okay. Well, he looks crazy. All right, let's get to the show. Yeah. I'm getting distracted. Nope. Well, before we get to that, look at Keon. Has he been this lean on stage?
Yeah, he has. Last year.
Maybe exactly this lean, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, this looks like stage for him
because he hasn't like pulled water and shit like that, so it looks like he's going to be leaner than last year, I would assume. And even his face, Keon doesn't usually get the death face, but it looks like his face came down. I mean, good job, man.
Yeah,
I think in this kind of shape, man, I don't know if anybody can beat him.
Nobody will beat him.
Yeah, as long as Keon is shredded, you're probably not going to beat him. You know.
I don't think I would count Sean Florida out, honestly.
He looks the same.
Talking about Keon is amazing. He's the champ. But Sean is stubborn.
Sean is a freak, man. Sean is a fucking freak. Yeah.
He is. He's extremely limited by how much shorter he is the issue.
I literally think that's the deciding factor.
Yep.
Listen, if Sean was 5'8", he might be the open Mr. Olympia. Like real talk, you know. I think Keon is able to get bigger, and if he's coming in shredded now, he's able to get bigger. He has a smaller waist. You know, like how can you beat literally probably the best aesthetics in all of bodybuilding, and he's had a bigger structure. There's just just a lot to beat. Now, Sean, if anybody more muscular and shredded than Sean, the combination of being that muscular and that shredded, he might be better than everybody, like including the open guys. You know, the year Derek beat him, I had Sean winning that year. With all due respect, the year Derek won the 212, I still had Sean winning, and we're talking about Derek here, and that was a really good Derek. You know, so Sean is that good. You know. Okay, this is that Josema guy, right? You guys know who this is? Jose Manuel, I think his name is. Classic guy.
Oh yeah, he's a younger guy, right? Like 22, 23.
Yeah, he did open and got like top 4, I think.
I gotta see his face.
Yeah, he's really good. He switched to classic from
he's
open.
good. He's good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who was really impressive in classic is that guy. I think his name is Jesus. He comes in healed, bro. He comes in so dry.
From where?
Like a couple weeks ago, all the classic guys were just shredded.
I can't remember the show.
I think he was either 3rd or 4th in that show, and I was like, damn, that guy is like Andreas Munster dry.
Oh yeah, I know the guy that went viral. Like everybody,
you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I think he's Hispanic or something.
Well, the crazy part is, like you said, that show everybody was shredded.
Everybody was shredded there. Yeah,
like everybody was like a 10 out of 10 shredded, and this guy was like a 12 out of 10 basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of those things, you know. But then I saw a lot of posts about they were like open guys need to come in this shredded. I'm like, well, first of all, that guy, nobody's coming in more shredded than that guy. Period.
Yeah,
but also it's a different look. In open, you can't be that flat. You have to be super full. If Derek would say, fuck it, I'm going to come in, peel to the bone, and I won't worry about filling out, he's not going to win because you have to be bursting full. So it's going to look different. I think that's why 90s guys think they were more shredded because they could really push the diuretics and be flat and still win shows. Whereas nowadays, if you come in flat, it's over for you.
It's just a different look.
Exactly. Different look, different criteria. You can't and the person who said that, who's the most qualified to say that, was Dexter. Dexter was like, it's just a different look. You have to be just as shredded but super full as well. And Dexter competed in 4, he did the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020. He did 4 generations.
Yeah.
So who would know better than him? He knows exactly what he's talking about because he was there. He was there the whole time. You know, so I think it's just a different look. If you come in, you just got to be full and, you know, you got to be perfect basically at this point. All right. Let's get to the show if I can find it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let me look at comparisons first. Okay. Got the whole lineup. I'll pull this one up.
We got 2 shows to play with, so.
Did everybody have, let's talk about the top 2. Did everybody have Brett winning, or anybody thought Bruno should have won?
Yeah.
I thought Brett was the clear winner.
Yep.
I thought Brett
there was a couple poses that I think were closer. In the back lat spread, I really looked close because I like Brett a lot. His lat on one side, I don't know if he has an impingement in his shoulder, his scapula. In the back lat spread, he was a little uneven, which in that pose, I suppose you could give the other way, but he still was so dry in his lower body. But I felt like he won both side poses. And he didn't really give much size up, you know, I mean, more detail in the back. You'll see in this back lat spread on the left side, he doesn't open up properly. So that's the only pose I could say is maybe you don't want to give it to him there. But I felt like he was the clear winner in most of them.
So you just said he wasn't giving much size up, right? I think that's a mistake maybe Bruno made because he wasn't giving up much size, but he should have been because somebody posted a picture of Bruno in, I guess, Italy. Was it Italy he competed in? And this one. And I think he tried to come in sharper because he knows Brett is going to be shredded.
Yeah.
But the thing about bodybuilding, you have to play your own game because he still wasn't as shredded as Brett, but now he was smaller than he was in Italy, right? Whereas he beat Presti, who was peeled in Italy. So I think
he looked a little flat, I thought.
Exactly. Bruno isn't okay. He's a big guy structure wise, but muscularity wise, he's not like a massive monster. But he's very round when he comes in full. So that roundness makes him almost look like a mass monster, right? But he didn't have. I mean, he's still pretty round, but he wasn't as round as he was previously. I think that he would have been more competitive. Probably still Brett would have won, but I think he would have had a better contrast being like a lot bigger than Brett or slightly bigger than Brett versus looking the same size as Brett and still not being as peeled, you know? I don't know if did that make sense, what I just said?
Oh, there's my comment right there. That's funny. If he was going to do the Olympia this year, where would you place him based on what you've seen so far? Where do you think he could land?
Brett?
Yeah.
Oh, God, this year, man, is rough. I would say it would be hard for him to make the top 10, but possibly not because he's not a phenomenal bodybuilder, just because
a lot of good guys doing it. But I think 10 would be a victory for him. So because you got Brandon Curry, all these guys that are doing it this year.
Yeah, because you got to clear out Hardy, Derek, Samson, Nick, Andrew, Brandon, Hunter, Martin, Tonio's out. Bonac, yep. Nathan is out. Okay, so yeah. Beirut is out. Rafa. Okay, so that would be the top 10.
Yeah.
So Brett would have to beat Rafa or Hunt. I don't think he can beat Brett, Rafa, Hunter. Bonac, I don't know if he can beat Bonac. So you see, so that's why. But if he is able to be one of those guys, that's a huge win. If he beats Bonac or Rafa, that would be the victory of a lifetime. So making top 10 this year would be like making top 5 usually.
Yeah, I think if he another good offseason and what coming in next year in that condition, I think he'll definitely be in the top 10. I think he made a lot of improvements.
Brett was putting on size really fast, but obviously he's going to slow down eventually, right?
Of course,
so I think it's going to be a lot slower now, but he had lost a lot of muscle. I had seen a video of him getting back into it, and he did look downsized. So he got the size back, and you know when you diet down after putting on size, sometimes you lose some of it, right? If you go up and go right back down. So I think he's gonna need, like you said, another, which he's qualified for next year, right?
Yeah.
I think he needs a full year of really pushing it because the size he is now, it won't cut it at the Olympia, you know. What do you think, Stu? Do you think he beat Bruno, and do you think he could be top 10?
I think he definitely deserved a win on condition and flow. But in terms of muscularity, you know, I would be surprised if we weighed more than like 240 here, honestly. I think the video I saw of him doing his individual presentation, he looked a little shaky. Like, let me know if you see it. Like, he looked a little shaky and a little flat.
I think he was on the flat side. Even compared to last year, somebody posted a comparison pic between this year and last year. He was actually in better condition this year.
Actually, even 2 years ago now.
Oh, 2 years. I didn't realize that. Yeah, you're right. Well, I can't even say better condition. He might be in the same condition, but you know, when you're flatter, you look tighter. So he does look tighter, but he looked fuller last year, that's not good because after 2 years, you want to look bigger. And I don't know if he looked bigger. All of the
things that happened in those 2 years. I mean, he was going to compete at the Olympia last year, and his gut was so fucked up he couldn't. So I mean,
he had the kid as well.
Yeah, you can sit here and say, "Oh, it's been 2 years. You should have improved." Well, yeah, he had a kid in the meantime, and you know, his stomach was a wreck. And you know, I'm not making an excuse for the guy, but like, there's a reason why he didn't put on 10, 15 pounds of muscle, right?
That's very true. Yeah. I know Brett is going to do the work. So if he can, what would be a realistic amount of muscle? Brett, how old is Brett? Brett is at least 4 years older than me.
How old is he?
At least 4 years older than me. So at youngest he would be 36. I don't think he's 40. I would say maybe 36, 37. But don't quote me. Somewhere around later 30s. Let's say that. What would be? But he is new to the sport because I don't think he turned pro until he was like 30. Don't quote
2018,
me.
I want to say.
Something like that.
Yeah, when I first met him, his wife was one of my athletes, and he was just starting out, and he was like this, men's physique competitor.
Yeah.
Like he grew really damn fast. So it's not like he was one of these guys that started when they were 12 years old, and has been doing it for 30 years. So I think he's still relatively new to it all. So I think he's probably mid-30s. I don't think he's that old.
No, he's not 30. The last I heard him say his age, he said 34. That was on Fuad's podcast, and he hasn't been on that at least in 2-3 years. So let's say 36, 37.
Let's compromise at 36.
Yeah, 36. Yeah. I mean, he looks young. His physique looks young. So okay, let's say a 36-year-old man, right? How much muscle would you say is realistic for him to add by next year's Olympia?
There's so much that goes into that question, right?
Yeah.
Because,
yeah.
Like if I were in his position, I'm qualified for the Olympia. I'm making a good living off of sponsorships and coaching people and all this shit. Am I going to gas it at the age of 36 to try and put on 10 pounds by next year? With all of the drugs that entails at the age that I'm at. He also has a daughter and a wife and like all this shit, right?
Good point.
I don't know what he does drug wise. Like I don't know if he's low or high or what he'd need to do, but like generally speaking, if you're gonna try and put on 10 pounds of muscle in a year, it's gonna take some doing. And is that worth the risk given everything else he has going on in his life?
Good point.
I don't know. And personally, if I were in that position, absolutely not. I wouldn't. But again, I don't know everything. So
that being said, I think we will be looking at more like 5 pounds, which is still
be realistic. I mean, like a kind of like mild normal off season and a year of work.
Yeah. But 5 pounds in the right places is a lot. That's not a shit. Martin was lighter and he looked way better. So I mean, I think this look he could have been fuller. So he could have probably been 3 pounds heavier and looked 10 pounds heavier. So because I do believe he was slightly flat. So well, I guess we'll see next year. Brett, I really like Brett as a person. I like his look as well. So
it's awesome.
He doesn't have any glaring weaknesses, which is, when you can just keep enhancing what you got, there's a lot that you can do with that if you can keep on growing, Yeah.
At one point, his leg sweep was the issue. Was his weakness? I don't think it is, right? What do you I don't think I wouldn't look at his legs and think that was the weakness right now. It looks fine to me, right?
Yeah. Same. Yeah,
it looks good to me. I would say overall grow. I wouldn't even say grow more one thing than the other. Even his arms, everything. I think at one point, I think he said himself, his quads and his arms. Right now, arms look. I'm not distracted at all by his arms. Right, it looks good to me. Yeah, but me, I don't believe you have to have crazy arms. I think it just got to be good enough. It got to be balanced,
Balance.
The boys don't agree with that. They say big arms. I think big arms look cooler, more aesthetic, though. All right.
I mean, you're in today's bodybuilding, you're much better off having a giant striated ass than you are having giant arms.
Yeah, I mean, look at Derek Lunsford. Right? I mean, I always say
you bring that giant ass shredded to the stage, they'll let you slide with small arms.
Hey, that's the goal. If you can have, honestly, if you had a crazy back and crazy ass, you're good to go. You're good to go. And obviously the condition and shit like that. All right, where's the other show? All right, did anybody have Samson losing? No. I guess with this show,
I had him winning. I had him winning, but he lost the side chest, in my opinion. So Rusty, just the side chest. I feel like he got him there for sure.
Percy been showing people out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, he comes in great condition. He's a big guy and he comes in great condition. You know what, Sam? Prejudging, it was like he had way too much oil on. And so when they first came out with the pictures, I was like, kind of looks like how he did last year. But then when I saw some of the individuals with him, I was like, okay, he looks better than I thought he did. I don't think that physique is going to do as great as the Olympia. But I thought he was the clear winner there.
I want to see Samson distorted. I want to see his face like this by Olympia. Hey, so okay, where would you rank this as far as his best conditioning? Would you say this is one of his best conditionings? Hey, I thought, but nobody else is saying that. I thought I was crazy. I felt like everybody was like, "Oh, he looks like he's like 2 weeks out." It's not.
It's just because he's got so much oil on that it's too much. Hurting a little bit. There are certain videos of him that I saw that were just like the random ones where you could actually see like different parts of the crowd where they filmed him. He was actually in really good shape. I think he needs to dry out, of course, obviously more for the Olympia. But I thought he looked really good. He's just very shiny, you know.
Yeah, so. Too shiny. I like to make my own opinions before I listen to anything because it starts to get in your head. And like, really, is he? Because I'm seeing people say he wasn't trying to peak for this show, but he looked okay. But when I first saw him, I thought I didn't think, I thought this was maybe his best condition. Honestly, maybe tied with UK, but that's what I was thinking. I thought this was leaner. Maybe not super dry because he did say he doesn't like diuretics, but I do think
if he like didn't like literally just walk on stage here, which practically speaking he could have done,
he might have,
comfortably. Like that's really impressive. Like if he didn't do any weird shit to dry out, no diuretics or anything, because he's probably done that like every other show in his career. Working with Milos,
well, look at abs. His abs was getting washed out by the last few shows, and it looks fine here.
I think he looks really good, and I think people are just hating.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think when you have so much potential, for you to get credit, it's like Cedric. You have so much potential, or like early on Ramy, you have so much potential. Almost like people expect so much from you that they almost don't want to give you any credit. So you would have to look like an alien to get any credit at this point. So,
but personally, I was less impressed with him than I was with Andrew Jack.
Less impressed?
I was less impressed with this showing by Samson than I was when Andrew Jack showed up.
You mean you were more impressed at Texas look?
Oh, when Andrew Jack showed up in Texas, I thought he destroyed that show. And he had better guys next to him than Samson had at this show. Personally, that's how I felt about it.
I would have to agree with that. Yeah, we were there in person, man, and I was very impressed. Now, Samson might be leaner, maybe. What do you think? So you think Samson's leaner than Andrew was? Andrew looks hard. He has a hard look to him. But hard and lean are two different things. Aceto will get you hard. We know that, But was he really, really lean body fat wise? Probably not. But motherfucking
not as lean as Samson is right now.
I don't think so. I think it's the opposite. I think Samson is actually lean, but I don't think Samson is super dry and hard. I think Andrew was pretty hard. He looked, thin skin, but some body fat there. But I was definitely more impressed with that look personally. I thought that was an insane look. Now, who
think from this French show, Samson kind of looked like he didn't put as much tan on. He looked a little lighter, his skin.
Is that better? You think?
Would be good for him, honestly.
Hey, I was thinking about that myself, like not using the tan, but everybody gets nervous. Like, no, use the tan. I'm like, hey, how do you know? Maybe I'll look better. You know, if you're already dark, I mean, I feel like I see Terrence Ruffin, right, and I'm like, I think he's too dark on stage, right? So
skin color and maybe Samson's too. Like the tan that they're spraying on you is literally like lighter than your skin.
Yeah,
like
good point.
Sort of reddish color, you know.
Good point. That's a good point.
You might not. Andrew's complexion looks perfect on stage. I don't know what the fuck he does, but we got to still his protocol. He's actually not as. I don't think he's as dark as Samson and Samson.
If your skin is that dark, you can't have as much oil either. Like that used to happen to. Well, I remember when we were younger, that used to happen at Keem Williams all the time, and if he had too much oil, you couldn't see
soft.
it. Yeah, it would look soft.
Yeah, but the hard part is that our skin sucks up the oil fast. So what happens is you try to overcompensate, and then you overcompensate. Then it looks like shit
because you can't go on stage ashy.
Exactly. So that's the point. So you're like, oh, this is, oh no, or even the oil people, they'll be like, oh man, your skin is soaking it up. Put more.
Yeah.
Then once you overdo it, then you kind of. So it's a really fine balance. To kind of get that perfect balance. You know.
I heard the PAM spraying doesn't get absorbed.
No, so that's what makes it, I guess, good because it doesn't go anywhere. So I personally use PAM as well, but you got to use a little bit because I use a little bit so it looks good, but it's not going anywhere. Whereas there.
Flavor?
Huh?
Do you get the buttery flavored one?
I usually do the original, the canola, you know. So with that, all you need is a little bit and it won't go anywhere. You won't sweat it off. You won't absorb it. Perfect. Now, if you put too much, you're fucked. And there's been shows I put too much in. It looked like what you said, chocolate honey bun.
I heard that they were like banning that at some of the shows in the MPC.
I don't think that's allowed. Yeah.
Somebody who said that? Somebody said it's illegal to you. I was like, well, were they gonna arrest me? What the fuck is that? What would that mean? Like,
no, because I remember this was before I went to prison. I was helping this kid, and I was like, we used to just use PAM spray, and he was like, no, they said that's illegal for us to use now, and I was like, really? I wasn't sure if that was just like a Florida show thing.
I just don't tell anybody. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I literally just don't. I don't tell anybody. Just hide that shit, you know. But
yeah,
don't show it off. I've been told that a few times. I'm like, well, who's gonna stop me? Somebody gonna snatch the shit from me? What the fuck? Disqualify me?
I don't know if this is. Maybe Samson puts a lot of thought into this, but like somebody who's experienced tanning people, like a really legit tech. Like Denise Chow, she's really good. The Liquid Sunrays people I've worked with are really good. Like they know what to do with your complexion, and everyone's a little different, right? So like actually like sitting down with one of these people and like figuring out what would work from him would be very worthwhile. I don't know if he is sponsored by any of these companies, but like that conversation should probably be had. You know,
that's a good point. Because remember those years where Branch Warren kept turning like green, and they finally like figured out like what to do with him. Yeah,
Branch Hulk. He was turning into the Hulk.
I think Denise was one of the Proton gals that was like working on him back in the day too.
Yeah, I think he had to take something for like the
it's a pH thing. Yeah,
yeah.
You have to like skin prep properly and. Certain people, like, they'll just get fucked up if they have certain things in their diet that'll just react. Like, they'll get stuff on their, like, a secretion on their skin. It fucks up the tan. You look weird. It's complicated stuff, and I don't expect bodybuilders to understand it. So, like, leave it to the experts.
Yeah, that's
my clients who are, like, really, really white, I try to have them do their own tanning before they even get to the weekend of the show. You know, like, put on a couple of layers of it, you know. Or honestly, I would probably recommend you to actually tan as well. Konevsky used to do that, and he would look. His tan was really good. He would actually tan. I think he tans year round, actually. So everybody that is not into that, but if you could, I think that would look even better. You know,
Yeah.
unless
like if you're a ginger or like a super pale person and you start getting orange from like using melanotan, it looks bizarre.
Yeah.
You
it
just
does,
walk
yeah,
around
yeah.
like that all the time.
Dennis Wolf said he couldn't tan. He said he would not tan. He would
Yeah.
just get burnt. He would just go
Yep.
from normal to just burnt. You know,
Yep.
there was no tan. You know, Stu looks like he would get a good tan. Dude,
Oh yeah, we get one
Yeah,
really
yeah.
easily, really fast.
yeah. Puerto Rican genetics, man.
I am white.
Hey, somebody said, does Stu really believe he's white? I'm like, what's that? What does that mean?
Dude, like imagine saying that to like a black person. You know?
Are you really black? Yeah.
Are you sure about that? You know, like just imagine.
It's just okay. Now, granted, right? By this time in the world, nobody's blood is going to say 100% Caucasian. Like, obviously, I think everybody knows that. There's going to be things in there, but it doesn't not make you white, right? Say if you're a light skinned black, like Phil Heath, he's still black. I mean, he's light skinned, but he's still, you know. So yeah, you might have different complexions and different hair, hair textures, but you're still a white guy, man. But
People
know
not
what's
have
funny
dark
is,
curly hair ever? Like what?
yeah, but Konevsky had an afro. He had a curly afro. I mean, he's still a white person.
Yo, and there was a time in prison, right, where I spoke in this thing, and when I was done, this guy Jenkins comes over to me. He's like, "Yo, bro, man, what are you?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? What am I?" He goes, "Where you from, man?" I said, "America." And he goes, "No, man, where you from?" I said, "You're asking me like what my ethnic background is?" I said, "I'm mostly Italian." He goes, "I knew you weren't white. That's what's up, man. I knew it." And I was like, "That's not white?" And he was like, "No, man." He's like, "Italian, man. You're Italian. You're not white." I'm like, "That's white." And he was like, "Nah, man." He's like, I knew you weren't white. You could tell by your nose, the way you talk." And so I was like, "Okay."
Some Italians don't consider themselves white, though, right? No.
I mean, I always thought of myself as
topic
white
amongst racists, whether or not Italians qualify as white people, like
My
whether
boy-
they're part of the club or not.
My boy Luke is Italian, but like fresh off the boat. Like he's not from here. Like he's from Italy, and he's kind of dark skinned. Like for a white guy, he's kind of dark skinned. It's just, I mean, you there are darker Italians, but I think it's still white. You know, maybe you get more of an ethnic pass at a little bit.
I've never heard that wasn't that Italian's not white before. That was and all the guys that he was with agreed with it too, which was funny as hell to me.
It's a state of mind more than anything. Okay.
I think so. If you're Italian from Jersey, you're not really white. You're a New Yorker. You just whatever.
It's a whole other thing.
It's a whole different trajectory. Yeah, you're a New Yorkian. All right. You guys want to get some questions? I think we've been on for a minute now.
Let's do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's do it. See what we got. A lot of happy birthdays. My birthday was Sunday.
Happy birthday! That's right. We talked about it earlier. I already wished happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
You're young.
Yeah, man. Uncle Beatty. We'll be going to talk. When do you guys implement T3? Do you need T3 or do you use T3?
Yeah, I've used like 25 micrograms. There's issues that I haven't used it. I'll just do like I'll bump up my T4 to like 150 or 200. I don't need any T3.
Mm-hmm.
But like this year I used 25. I didn't go above that.
Conservative.
Do you take
basically
T4?
a replacement dose?
You take T4 when you're on growth? Do you
year
believe?
round. I'm always on that.
So I've seen some protocols that a lot of coaches do that. I don't think I've ever done that. Well, because it's gonna the growth is gonna decrease your T3.
So I don't remember all of the details. There's some article that I read a while ago that kind of explains how this all works. But basically, adding T4 levothyroxine when you're using reasonably high amounts of growth hormone will increase the effectiveness of the growth hormone. I don't remember how it all works, but you're not getting a down regulation of your thyroid from the growth hormone that you're replacing for. It's not that. It's like the T4 is making your GH work better.
Oh, I'm gonna order some
if you're only using a few IUs a day, it's not worth getting into that. If you're using higher doses of it though, then that's when you start getting into doing stuff like that.
What dose of T4 we talking?
100.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me write that down. I'm gonna order some T4 tonight, man. But more GH effectiveness, I'll take that. Jay, do you want T3?
Yes, but only about 2 months out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you use T3, PJ?
So when
you worked
with
Dave,
with Palumbo, I used a lot of T3.
I kind of figured.
Yeah. So with my 2 years with Palumbo, there was a year where he thought I was using 100 micrograms a day. But I stopped myself at 50. We started out at 25, and then we went to, Dave bumps you up 12.5. But I mean, at 50, I was dropping weight so fast, so I couldn't understand why he wanted to keep increasing my dose. So I just kept it where it was and just kept telling him that I was doing what he was saying. Without Palumbo, the last 2 shows before I stopped competing, I didn't use any T3. But with before Dave, I used a little bit, and during Dave, I used a lot. Dave would have people over 100 micrograms of T3, 150 even.
Yeah.
But
really bad. Don't do that, guys.
Yeah, do not do that, because after that second show, that was the only time I ever really got like fat afterwards, and it took me a while to get back to normal. So I absolutely don't recommend doing that, especially because Dave will have you do it for long periods of time. Back then, I don't know if he still does it like that. He'd start you as soon as you start dieting with the T3. Yeah. So 16 weeks out, you're putting it in right away. I mean, where do you go from there?
That was like an old school thing, because John Reagan did that with me. I don't know if he did that with you, but I'm also
Reagan did it also. Reagan was very aggressive in certain things, not as much the T3. Reagan was pretty aggressive with the diuretics actually after the first show. First show conservative. It was just like take like an aldactone. And then once he knew me, it was more. But Dave, it was basically like you get the email back and it would be increase your T3 by 12.5, increase your clan by 20 micrograms. Yeah. And you keep going like that. But I actually can tolerate T3 fine. I personally, I don't know about you guys, I can't really use clan. I have very bad reactions to clan. Even low doses of clan fucks me up.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I prefer clan over T3.
See, I've used DMP very effectively a bunch of times. Fine.
Probably the safest of all those options, as paradoxical as that sounds.
I know, right?
Oh, wow.
Seriously,
I've had clan where I've gotten horrible cramps, like in the arches of my feet the first day taking it. Strange sweats and reactions to it, where I'm like, this is just not worth it for me for this.
Yeah. But I did do DMP, and I was just tired, man. I was tired as shit. I couldn't keep it in because my ability to like train and do cardio was just But I guess if you have more food in your diet, I'm sure you guys have more.
You told me you eat a very small amount, right?
Yeah.
To say that, a very small amount. So like back then, like
to say the least.
Usually, like when I was like cycling carbs and with the DMP, I could go really high with the carbs, and I felt like my body was just a furnace on the DMP. I felt it was very, very effective.
I'm gonna have to give this a shot, man. This sounds good to me. I might be able to eat a little bit more, right? Who knows?
You don't know how much to try. Experiment.
I'm gonna take some notes from you guys. I got to talk to you guys about that. Or for the T3, I usually implement with Reagan. We implemented it 12 weeks out. With Compton, whenever he feels you need it. There's been preps where I actually lose the initial 10, 15 pounds really fast, and then boom, then it's the last 10 pounds that really stick for me. So I think he puts it in maybe, I don't know, 8 weeks out. He goes high for Compton. With me, I know with other athletes he doesn't go high at all. With me, I want to say they come 25 micrograms, right? Usually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With me, maybe 50. He goes up. I usually put it a little higher, anyways. Don't tell him. But my body can handle like a lot of T3, a lot of diuretic shit like that. But I also do lose some muscle, so maybe I shouldn't be doing more than he tells me anyway. So who knows? All right.
Yeah. Hard to fill up. Once you have a lot of T3 going on, so hard to fill up.
Yeah.
But I notice coaches who go like high T3 and a lot of diuretics, their black clients usually look pretty good, but their white clients sometimes
it's
not so much.
It's harder to flatten out most black guys than it is white guys. You guys just round and fill.
Exactly. So
you know?
I'm thinking in my head, I'm thinking even Oregon, but I'm thinking Aceto, right? Aceto as well, and even Dave. I feel like some of the black and sometimes even the Latino guys. Like I know you work with Juan Morel, Akeem, and them. So I feel like I feel like there is a difference. There's a difference. Unless there are white guys who maybe have like kind of like black genetics almost. Every once in a while you'll see that, or the opposite. All right, let's see. Like Compton was round as shit.
Compton was very round. Mm-hmm.
Holy fuck,
Crazy round.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
PJ, you were round too, man. Back in the day. PJ was. You were insane, dude. I remember how you looked like.
That most muscular,
crazy, fucking crazy looking. That one picture that you had, like outside, yeah, exactly. Outside, he was vascular, and you're hitting him most muscular. That shot was crazy, man.
Thank you, man.
I liked PJ bigger, but like when he chased the glutes, right?
Everybody says that, yeah.
But it's like because one show the judges would be like, you would have won if you brought in the glutes. You're like, fuck it, let's bring in the glutes. And you destroy the rest of your body. It's like, So it's hard to pick. It's hard. We've seen Andrew with glutes at that Arnold Classic, but we didn't like the rest of his body.
Yeah,
we're like, okay, we got glutes, but we don't like how you look. So you gotta pick and choose sometimes. Okay. Favorite rest day calories. Have you ever gotten how does it feel to beat? What the fuck? That's weird. All right. Let me pull up a different set of questions. 1 second, fella. Sorry. Okay. Boom.
What?
How did you get your... Okay. How did you get your first sponsorship? Did you proactively reach out or did they? I guess we all have different experiences. If you can remember your first sponsorship. My first sponsorship, but PJ probably knows them, LWP. Remember the Live Well Pharma?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was my first sponsorship. And I don't remember. I knew, Mundo?
Yeah.
Or New Moon. I don't even know if the motherfucker's alive. I don't know what the
Mundo, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I guess I knew him. I knew him through Larry. And I had won the Brooklyn show, and he had a booth there, and he sponsored me then and there. And basically, you're getting free juice, right? So that's the best sponsorship. Food and juice is my favorite. So they reached out to me, but I kind of knew them. I kind of know. I guess I kind of know. I know PJ. I'm with Black Stones, even though PJ's not the owner. So I know people in the.
You still drop my name. I would have loved to have a juice sponsor back in the day. It was just so much different back then.
Yeah. But also, how do you promote? I got reached out to by a company. I'm pretty sure they sell juice. I'm pretty positive, right? That company that I asked you about, Stu, is Blank Labs. It starts with an S. You remember?
Oh yeah.
They sell juice, right?
No, I think they're just a peptide company.
Oh, never mind.
But
I
some of
thought
these
they sold
peptide
too.
companies sell like Trestolone, which is weird.
Yeah.
Like that's just an anabolic steroid. Why are you?
They're just like saying, please, FDA, come shut us down and throw us in jail.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Why would you sell that? Okay, yeah, but a juice sponsorship is literally the best thing in the world.
Oh yeah,
you know. And they started selling GH, and they wouldn't give me that for free, but like a fraction of the price, you know. So okay, but anyways, who wants to PJ? Who was your first sponsorship? How'd you get it?
Well, I started working with Palumbo in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, he knew I had a really hard, you know, Dave always still to this day says, you know, I had a really good work ethic. So he was like, I'm going to start a company and I want you to be, besides me, you're going to be the face of the company. And I was like, okay, awesome. You know, so in the very beginning stages of Species, it was Dave and me and his, at the time, fiance, Colette Nelson. And then eventually Juan Morel came around, and you know I was with Species for 6 years, and then I've actually told the story on the radio, Dave, if you get mad hearing this now, but so I was like, Dave, can I please get some sort of salary? And he's like, you're getting a lot of exposure, you can't put a price on that. And I was going everywhere. So back then we used to do demos all over the place. Man, I would drive everywhere to do these demos, but it was cool. I enjoyed doing it. So what we did was Evan and I'm throwing Evan under the bus, but he had a sharp brain for stuff like this. We took one of Evan's contracts and we edited it on the computer and put my name into it and then changed the header. So I'm just giving fraudulent information out right now. Like, for all the people that think this guy is a good guy, why did he go to prison? And I was like, and so we made a fake contract. And I was like, look, Dave, this company offered me $1,000. You know, that's a lot of money for a young guy like me. And I was like, but if you want to match it, man, I want to stay with you. You're my guy. And then he was like, fine, I'll match it. And so that was how I started getting paid after all that time.
Yo, that's a really good fucking idea. You know,
Yeah.
I always say
if you literally have to do that, like that's the only way that you can actually get anything.
Yeah.
I mean, literally,
you don't necessarily have to do it fraudulently, but you could.
No.
But you know, you need to like say like, hey, I'm willing to go elsewhere. If you know, it's the same with like a job. You know, if you want to raise and you're just sitting there doing a good job at your day job, and like, you know, they're going to give you like a 3% raise. So that's not enough, you know?
Yeah.
You know, go and get a job offer from another company and be like, hey, you need to match this or I'm leaving, and be willing to do it.
You know, that's such good advice, because I can tell you in all of the years running Blackstone Labs, at one point or another, all of my in the building staff has asked for at least one raise, right? Mm-hmm. But maybe 2% of the athlete's lifetime have ever asked for a raise. And the ones that did, I had a simple breakdown of who was very expensive and who wasn't, who was competing a bunch of times, who was doing all the stuff that I had to shell out money for, and how much could I at least in coupon code see that their name generated, right? And there were some people that were very plus and some people that were very minus. And there was a couple of times where people were like, listen, you know, this company offered me this much. Will you match it? And I said, yes. And then there was a couple of times where people said, this company asked me this much. And I told them, you know, then my advice is to go do that, because it's not a long time in this industry. And I'd like you to get the most money.
Oh man.
You know, that's just business is business. And there was one person I fucked up on though, was Carrie June Bowlby, man, Miss Carrie June, who she has her own company now, Mini Beast.
Yeah.
And the girl was blowing up, and she asked for more money, and I should have just gave it to her, because she wound up blowing up. She's got like 2 million followers. She's did this giveaway the other day where her garage had like a Lambo and this and that, and they're just giving away a car. And I was like, man, that girl wasn't even asking for that much more money too. I should have just gave it to her.
Yeah.
But you know, you as a business owner, you it's a crapshoot trying to find those people that really blow up like that, because it's almost, unfortunately, never bodybuilders. It's always like these random fitness jabronis, or like, you know, some girl that just pops off for whatever reason, and it's really hard to find that. It a lot of it happens overnight, like these trend twins guys, like early in their career, nobody would give them. They're not anybody you would give any money to, but the way that their popularity blown up, you as a business owner, you look at like jabronis like that, and you're like, damn, I would have liked those kids come on. They bring a lot of attention, you know. Whether you want that kind of attention or not is really goes on the business owner.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, PJ, because you know better than any of us. You said that, you know, oftentimes it's not the bodybuilders who actually bring business, but you still have bodybuilders on the roster. Is that almost like just to say you have them then? Like, how much value are guys like me or Beatty actually bringing?
So not much. I don't.
So for me, So for me, it comes on my end of it. It comes down to I love bodybuilding, and it bothers me to not have bodybuilders associated with the brand, because I didn't design Blackstone to be a mainstream brand. Like, a lot of our products are hardcore products. So, you know, of all the people that I've sponsored over the years, a lot of the bodybuilders were not valuable. But then I'll tell you, like, Seth Feroce was very valuable. He brought in a lot of money, man. And I told Seth straight up, I was like, you should probably just start your own thing, you know? And I think that the key is getting bodybuilders that also have a mouth and like to speak, because there's just, unfortunately, even though I feel bodybuilding is the biggest draw as far as tickets at the shows, as far as what pushes a brand these days, it seems to go farther and farther away from bodybuilding. And I used to turn down bodybuilders all the time, just because I could tell, you know, it might have been somebody that I like, where I'm like, look, I like you, but I could just tell by how unactive you are on your social medias that we're not going to be a good match. And I'd rather not damage our relationship like that when you get mad over, you know, me not thinking you're doing enough and wanting more money.
But it's like
I can tell you, just from, even though I'm not involved in what goes on the business side of things, the number one earner at Blackstone Labs for like a few years now has been this girl, Jenna Geary. And she trains out at Fit Club. She's jacked, you know, like, she's kind of like not your normal big driver, but she's got a popular coaching business. She's done videos with Cutler and people like that out there in Vegas. So that's kind of like one where I kind of, you know, Blackstone kind of got lucky with somebody like that. Like Cody Montgomery used to drive in major numbers when he was doing shows, but then nothing at all when he wasn't competing at all. And I'd be like, Cody, man, do a show, please. You know, I'm paid for it. You know, so it's really tough.
But bodybuilders do it to themselves, man. They do it themselves. You know, a lot of my friends are bodybuilders, and a lot of them seem to be really smart, actually really good personality in private, but for some reason they just don't provide value. Like, they don't put anything out, you know, and it's part of it.
TJ, I'm asking for myself, because I need to figure this shit out personally. Like, you know, like, if I'm doing decent competitively and all that good shit, but like, and how do I push product on my page without making it seem like I'm shilling?
Yeah, we don't want you to do that either. So what I want at Blackstone Lab, this is what I used to tell people all the time: please don't and do posts where you're trying to sell like my shit, like the way that I would. I hate when people do that. Like, don't go in there and be like, the reason I take this is because what I wanted my main athletes to do is be active on social media. And when you're on social media, either wear my clothes or at least have like my shaker cup around somewhere so they see the logo, because by consistently seeing the logo, they start to associate, oh, that guy's with Blackstone Labs, that guy's with Blackstone Labs. That's honestly all I really like asked most of my people to do. I always tell the people, do not try to sell the products that looks terrible. Now I will say, if you're somebody that really understands the supplements and it's a product like we're the first people that ever put out a glucose disposal agent. We are put Glycolog out years ago. Gorilla Chemist designed it for us, and that's a product that literally anyone can benefit from, but bodybuilders can really benefit from. So when the guys would go out and talk about why they liked Glycolog, to me, I appreciate stuff like that because it requires education. But I definitely don't need the guys being like, yeah, I'm taking my Blackstone pre-workout today before I go to the gym and this and that. I don't want that. What's valuable is bodybuilders who have podcasts, bodybuilders who like to talk to people on social media, that are putting their personalities out more. The guys that don't do that a lot, like this may sound like a hater comment, but I can promise you that I highly doubt Samson Duda makes that much money for Hostile. I just don't think people are buying those supplements because of him. You know what I mean?
The big problem with Samson is he's English, and they don't even sell in England, as far as I know. So
it's very tricky, you know.
What I'm sorry.
Like Ronnie Coleman, right? The best bodybuilder in my opinion ever. His brand never took off here. And I was friends with the guys that were running the business side of him. He did amazing overseas, but it never took off here because we're kind of past that where an awesome bodybuilder can carry a brand like it was in the late 90s and early 2000s when you looked at the old Muscle Tech ads, the BSN ads. Like the people that do the best now are either coaches or podcasters, YouTubers, people like that. Throw the coupon code up on the bottom of your YouTube when you're putting out podcasts and shit. Mention it like quickly in the beginning or the end of the podcast. You know, shout out to the sponsor, Blackstone Labs. You know, for information on the sublets, you know, DM me or contact them, whatever. Like that's all that, like to me, wearing the shirt is way more valuable than trying to I used to tell guys, yo, tell me clothes that you like Cody, because he was like my son. And I would print Blackstone Labs on all the clothes for you. You know, just so he'd be in it all the time. And we would do that for him. So, right now has Justin O'Donnell. When I got out of prison, before I knew I wasn't going to be allowed to be a part of it, Justin O'Donnell, he's a Connecticut boy like me. So I was like, I liked to know that he was a part of my brand. So I was like, dude, whatever happened while I was gone, I'll make sure that, you know, you'll at least get your show paid for when you go to compete for your pro card this year. Contest expenses, I promise you, whether I'm there or not, they're still going to do it, even though I can't be there, you know. But I personally love bodybuilding, so that's why I try to stay involved in it.
Yeah. By the way,
leaders then, okay.
Yeah,
I like.
I'm saying it sucks to say it like that, but I'll tell you, if you get a Chris Bumstead, I mean, he's carrying that whole brand, you know, because of how popular he is.
Yeah.
When I talk to these bodybuilders like regularly, they all have really good personalities, which is the funny part, but they just don't show it. They just choose for some reason not to show it. And I can see a way they could easily blow up, but I don't think they see it in themselves. You know, you just put your personality out there. Like honestly, Stu in particular, I think people love Stu. I think
I'll be honest with you, Stu. I knew who you were from hearing other people talk about you, and then I remember being in prison and seeing a muscular development that you were in, and I was like, "Oh, that's that kid Stu with the hair. He looks like really good." So I had heard other people speak about you.
Did you actually get that issue of the magazine?
Yeah.
Oh,
you were on the magazine?
Yeah, he was in the muscular development.
I was in MD. It was like one of the last issues they ever printed. I've got a couple copies of it.
Yeah, because they let me keep writing. I wrote for muscular development, you know, before I went to prison, and they were like, if you want to keep your article going from prison, if they let you, you know, we'd love to have you. And I would write the articles in email and send them out so they could edit them. And hey, fucking cats everybody. And I saw that. I was like, oh, I remember hearing people talk about him, and I still actually have that magazine still too.
That's fire.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I could see how Stu could blow up just by putting out more content. Just because I'm sure nobody sees themselves that way, but people like Stu just because his honesty and bluntness, sarcasm, all that shit. So I feel like bodybuilders can do, huh?
Work with that and gonna be a lot better at it once I'm down in Texas. It's just gonna be easier there. Like, as I'm just in a weird element up here. There's like nobody like me around me.
Yeah,
it's very odd.
You gotta be in the headspace. What I do is when I'm in the headspace of filming content, I shoot a shit ton of content. I'm still I haven't actually filmed in a while. I'm still posting. You guys probably can't tell. I'm still posting stuff from weeks ago. You know, so right now I'm not in the mood to film at all. I don't want to film myself in the gym, but I got a whole memory card full of workouts so that I'm still posting. You know, and then I'll take pictures and, you know, write and stuff. I think just putting your personality out there, sometimes it's hard to be yourself because you don't really know what your personality is. But just the easiest way of the podcast, when you're just talking, your personality comes out, you know. So I know with me for promo, I think I'm horrible at promo because I don't feel like I actually promote. I just literally just do whatever the fuck I do. But but when you actually take the product, then it's not that hard. You know, because it's like, I'm like, let me just take a picture. Like, I'm mixing my digestion. I'm like, okay, I haven't posted anything for a while. Okay, let me take a picture of the greens product. But I'm actively using it as well. You know.
Well, you made that nice commercial that looked good. You know, like people appreciate seeing guys take the initiative to do that extra step, and you have to be. As a bodybuilder, if you want to be valuable to a supplement company, you've got to be strong on at least one of the social media platforms, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. You've got to be able to say, look at what I do here. You know, I have a podcast that I do every week on YouTube, and a lot of people watch it. That's what. If you don't have any of that, if you're not participating in any of that, most companies are going to say this is just another lazy bodybuilder who wants money just to go compete in bodybuilding shows. And, you know, the industry has gone very far past, you know, the 90s and early 2000s when companies were paying big money like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, nobody asked me to make that commercial. I literally just made it honestly because I like he's my friend and I like his work and I think it looks cool and I just want to look cool. I wanted to be in slow motion and shit and do all that.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great.
Yeah,
it was awesome, actually.
Thank you. I just want to look cool because I just want to look cool. But it was a good ad, I guess. I don't know. Who doesn't want to be in slow motion? You know, with some edits.
But I had guys, you know, and I don't want to. Fine, I'll leave his name out of it. But I had a bodybuilder that I signed.
I know who you're talking about.
And I brought him over from a company called Shreds. And there was a lot of people that liked this guy. And he had so much potential at the time. And I said, I will pay for a videographer to follow you every time you go to the gym. And all he's going to do is just film your training. And if you want to do one kind of lifestyle video, it's on you. Making your food, anything you want outside of there, I'll pay to have him do that too. And he called out of videos so often that by the time the year was over, I didn't renew his contract and he was so mad. And I was like, bro, I sat down and talked to you multiple times about all you have to do is just go to the gym and he's going to film you. You're blowing the guy off, or you're going to a different gym and not telling him, like, I'm paying the guy. Like, all you got to do is do what you're going to do anyway.
Exactly.
So to me, I was like, if you can't do that simple step, why would I be interested in giving you any more money?
That guy you're talking about, he could have had like 10 million followers by now.
Yeah, I know.
He was probably, I don't want to say lazy, but let's say this, he probably did the least amount of content. He was the biggest athlete who did the least amount of shit. Yeah. He literally put no content out there still to this day, and people still follow him, right? Maybe not as much as before.
You know, if you asked me when I was, 22, 23, doing my first shows, like, hey, would you mind if somebody came here and videotaped you while you trained? I would be like, what time? Hell yeah. I mean, absolutely.
Free content. And I mean, if nothing else, that's good memories to have. Also, on the bodybuilding side, I don't know his life or what's going on in his life, but he also could have been a really good fucking bodybuilder.
Yeah.
But he didn't. I don't think he took that seriously. or the social media seriously. Everybody liked him because he looked phenomenal. Yep. And he had a cool look to him, and he was a really good bodybuilder. Maybe he has I don't know if he's doing something outside of fitness. I don't know what he's doing, but maybe he had different I don't know, hobbies or some shit that we don't know about, because it seemed like it was so easy. It looked like the world was his, fitness world was his for the taking, and he just seemed like he didn't care. Strange, but
chicks loved him. Like
yeah, he had
a lot of potential.
Yeah, and that time frame was the perfect time to blow up.
Yep.
If that was the time that anybody who kept it up then, they're set by now. They have the life is set.
Yeah, it's a lot more saturated, and people have caught on to the trends in social media in a lot different way now. Mm-hmm. So like when Shreds first was really like blowing up, that type of business model I don't think will ever work ever again. It's just a much different. Social media is so much different than it was in 2012. It's all just dramatically different. Now you have to have a lot of individual value on social media because there's just so much more of it out there.
Exactly. One of those things. All right, let's do one more question. I think we've been on for a couple hours. Let's see what we got. How are you guys doing today, gentlemen?
Happy to be here.
Everybody good? Did everybody answer the question? Are you with Cutler, Zay?
Yeah.
How did you get that? How did you get that sponsorship?
2020, Jay Cutler reached out to me asking me if I want to join the team after I had a good local win right here in Northern California. And I was so fucking ecstatic to read that message, bro. Yeah. And at the time, I did have a sponsorship, so I did say to him, "Let me get out of this, and I'll be free in a month." And then we started. And I went to my old sponsors, which were really good to me. Their name is Royalty Nutrition. It's a local company in Long Beach. They have really good 4 or 5 products, which I really use, honestly. And but when the opportunity presented itself, I wasn't going to say no, And the guy understood because he knew that Jay was my idol.
Yeah, how can you turn it down?
And so I just was honest with him, and we're so in good terms, And that's how it started. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, let's do one more question. Okay. Would you rather have all the money in the world but die at 40? Wait, it's grammatically incorrect. Or be broke and be the happiest man in the world?
Number 2.
Yeah.
Definitely number 2.
Would some people be? Wouldn't some people be happy being the richest man in the world?
I mean, I agree. So I already missed the cutoff there. So
yeah. I mean, but once you say the happiest, then I don't think anything trumps that, because regardless of your financial situation, if you're happy, then it's irrelevant, right?
Yeah, you can't.
I think if you have a stopwatch on your life, you could never be happy.
Mm-hmm.
One of God's greatest gifts is you don't know when you're going to go, to be honest.
Good point.
And if you have all the money in the world, I think that demon in the back of your head with the stopwatch looking down, it's going to haunt you, even with trillions of dollars. So it's better to fix your situation as a broke guy and find a way to get richer than we live the other way, in my opinion.
Good advice.
Well, one of my friends, Zay probably knows her as well, because she goes to Venice. I don't know how if you do know her, but she's dying this year because she has brain cancer, apparently.
Sad.
Which is crazy. But she's so calm about it. But I'm like, I guess how else would you be? You're gonna be yelling and running around. I mean, you hear the news, you probably break down, and then you're like, fuck it. There's nothing you can do about it. You just, So also, some people get that diagnosis and maybe they don't die in a year. So that's possible too. But if you know you're gonna die in a year, at that point, just I don't know, you just try to spend time with. That's what she's doing, spending time with loved ones. That's about it. You know, it's one of those things. If it's out of your control, there's no point to, I guess, no point to moan about it. You know, but it kind of makes
I feel like people joke about death very often. Death is ugly, man. Like once death comes close to your circle, you will understand it's not a fucking joke. You know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Once people get that fear, really, really, it's real. You'll feel differently afterwards if you survive it. You know?
I think when something that's scary, you try to make light of it just because it's a scary thing, you know. I mean, but it really, I guess it's more scary for everybody else, you know. I think you dying, well, you're gone. You got nothing to worry about, right? But everybody around you is really the ones that suffer, you know. I guess you might suffer on your way out, maybe, but once you're gone, you're gone. It's really everybody around you that has to suffer after you're gone, right? So some people say, "Oh, I'm not scared of death," but well, you don't have to be scared of it. But what about your kids and your loved ones? They're the ones that, you know. I would be more scared to lose a loved one than lose myself, because if I'm gone, well, I don't know what happens to you when you're gone, but if I'm gone, I'm assuming there's no more pain, right? But everybody else is gonna be like, "Oh, fuck that guy now." Everybody else is gonna be like, you know, "Oh man, that guy," you know. So I think if anything, it affects your loved ones even more than it affects you, you know. But that was a morbid last question. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it lighter.
End it on a sour note.
Yeah, let's not end it there. Okay, you got some questions too?
Like big picture, like what am I doing with my life? I got a lot of questions. No answers though.
Oh wait, you got a spot in Texas already, right?
Yeah.
It's all good to go.
Yeah.
What's your moving date?
Like November 3rd, so like a month from now. Just
right around the corner.
Really not that long at all.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I might or might not see you there because I need my weed. Okay.
Wow. Oh, you were thinking about moving there too?
I was thinking about moving to Dallas after visiting, but a few people told me you have to visit on a normal when there's not an event as well, just to see the difference. But same difference to me. I mean, it wasn't the event that I liked. I actually liked Dallas in itself.
Yeah, I like Dallas. I personally would pick, my own personal opinion is I would pick Dallas over LA any day of the week. But if you've already got it going good out there,
Vegas isn't bad. It's not too far.
Yeah, I like Vegas too.
Yeah, I like Vegas. Yeah. All right. What's the most trend you ran? Yeah, what's the most trend you ran?
2100.
Damn.
Yeah, good old days.
Wow.
Well,
to be honest, 3 weeks on that though. 3 weeks. Couldn't handle it after that.
That's intense.
When I was younger, I loved trend. I guess I still like trend, but I can't use high doses. I just can't. My body can't handle it. I'll get everything from indigestion, really bad indigestion, to nosebleeds, to obviously lack of sleep. But I mean, to the point that I'm really getting no sleep at all. Appetite goes to shit. Uncle Beatty, man, I'm getting older. I can't do that no more. But to answer the question, man, I used to take as much as I could physically shoot into my body at one point. 2 weeks out though, not the whole time. I would keep it 300, and I would titrate up literally as much as I could handle, and that would change every year. The highest I've been able to handle, it's hard to say. I'm loading that bitch up at that point. Maybe, I'm sure, a gram, maybe, because a 1 cc every day would be 700. I'm sure I've done more than that. So if I had to guess, maybe like a gram.
Wow.
2100, like, I'll be able to.
21 is balls, man. Holy shit.
I don't know if I can fit that in my body.
Dude, it's stupid.
Yeah, try it.
For sure. Going backwards and looking at it, it's a waste of money anyways. I'm just happy that I didn't hurt myself. You know?
Yeah.
That's intense. Yeah, I've done the last 2 weeks. I've gone to a CC every day. at 100 milligrams. So, 700.
Oregon special. You 2 weeks out, you got to go.
Last 2 weeks, you go every day with that shit. I'm like, even the day of the show.
He keep going, man.
Yeah, he makes you go all the way up.
Yeah, that's the old school. The newer coaches, they usually don't go over 300 nowadays. I mean, at least with just what I
unnecessary to go super high with it.
Me personally, I don't think I can go over 300. I tried it last year, but I physically can't handle it. Which I don't know if that sounds pussy or what, but I'm just shit. I mean, if it's making me worse, then I just can't do it.
Personally, now I can handle trend really well, which is kind of concerning. But I mean, during prep this year, the highest I went was like 350, maybe 420, the last week. But I kept it at like 30 mgs a day for most of my prep until 3 weeks out, and then I bumped it up to 50 for the last few weeks. What was it?
Well, the question is, do you need more? Like with Zaid, did you notice more gains?
I think it stopped at 1,000. After 1,000, it was a waste of oil. But up until 1,000, I was looking and doing better and better each time I went up that ladder. At 1,000, I started to feel like there's no changes.
How much testosterone were you doing?
A gram. No. And I was doing also 2,100 of Mastron with it.
Damn.
So it's Mastron, test, and trend. Yeah.
And Zay still got his hair. Still got your hair.
Yes, sir. Yeah. There's no way. You know what's so funny? My brother lost his hair at 19 years old, and he never set a foot in a gym before. Taking steroids ever before. Man. Yeah. It's so 19, fucking ironic.
19, you just starting off, man. You lost it before you even got to show it off. Yeah. Before he grew his beard, he lost his fucking hair. That's crazy. Yeah. But honestly, trend.
The last prep I done for the USA, I was at 600 a week, no more. 300 acetate and 300 anything, and that I ran that all the way up until 6 days out.
Zaid, for somebody so mild with drugs, you kind of take a lot of drugs sometimes.
I never said I don't take a lot. You guys
no.
I said I like to start low and build up. You guys like to start high right away.
Yeah,
so
we usually start
a long cycle that starts low, and I'm like a slower person, so it's always going to take me a little longer versus others that like to shoot up a lot. Plus, like the pinning, man, it's never fun. Even though I'm a pro and whatever, and I've done this for a long time, it's never a fun time for me. You know what I mean?
No, it's not. Yeah.
And you think you would get used to it, but no,
Yeah.
And then it gets uglier and uglier as you get bigger and bigger.
You're more aggressive in prep, right? It seems like off season.
Definitely. Yeah.
You know what? Honestly, I think it's better that way because in off season, if you can't eat and train as hard as possible, you go backwards. And I've been running 10 to 15 IUs of GH, and I can't handle it right now because I'm like 295 ish, and my hands get so numb that it wakes me up when I sleep, and I can't go back to sleep. Just things like that. So off season, and my appetite is not the best, and I know that the drugs, like any drug, decreases my appetite. So the more drug, the lower my appetite is. So off season, I think lower and just eat a shit ton of food, and obviously train hard. I don't even think I got to say that. If you're not training hard by now, you don't get it. you don't get it. So yeah, I think that makes sense. And then pre-contest, I wouldn't be aggressive with test, but I would be aggressive maybe with master on. Maybe Winnie, shit like that. High Winnie. I know a lot of coaches like High Winnie, High Halo, High Master on. The trend though.
How high have you gone with Halo?
Me?
Yeah.
Shit. With O'Regan, it was basically he just kept upping it because I wasn't looking that hard, so he just kept going up, and each one is 10 milligrams.
Yeah.
probably 60 to 80, probably like 4 twice a day.
Yeah.
I've heard about people doing up to 100 to 100 to 200 with Proviron. Same thing. I heard people doing 2 to 300. I mean, I don't know if you look the part, then shit, I guess it works. But I don't feel like I look better with 80 Halo.
Yeah. Meadows told me he started at 8 weeks out, 10 milligrams, and increased it 10 milligrams a week to the show. Yeah. So that'd be 80 total by the end.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Zay looks good on Halo though. The Halo.
I like Halo.
It's one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah,
I ran up to 90 a day the last week of the show, but only 1 week. You know, the weeks before were 60.
Yeah, there's no. I don't think they
ramp it up, dude. Shit, like
that's what I'm thinking. But can you handle it?
Like 20 or 30 at most.
You're young. Yeah, you're young. You can handle it too. Yeah, it's crazy because in my head I feel like me and Stu are the aggressive ones, but I guess it's only on some things maybe. You know, it depends.
I did an interesting test on myself years back. So I basically I used to get my blood work done like literally like every month or two because I was always experimenting and wanting to see what was happening, especially when we're putting new stuff out with Blackstone. So there was a lot of people that were like talking about how brutally bad like oral steroids are for you, right? So I did a test on myself where I did Halo testing 20 milligrams a day for 30 days. I did my blood work before and after. And so the blood work after, my liver markers as far as AST and ALT were elevated, but not dramatically elevated where you'd be like, oh my God, this guy is going to die. It was just, they were slightly elevated. But my red blood cells and pretty much the most of the rest of my blood looked around the same 30 days later. So I took a break for a little while and I did the same thing, but the difference this time, 30 days before and after, I went 20 milligrams, 30 milligrams, 40 milligrams, 50 milligrams. But every week I did 1,000 milligram push of glutathione. My liver enzymes were lower in 30 days than they were in the beginning. And that shows you, one, how powerful glutathione is, and two, that when you do short blasts of oral steroids, if you're doing the other things to take care of yourself the right way, they're far less lethal and dangerous on your body than people make them out to be. And just food for thought, back when I used to drink aggressively during my divorce, I was still doing glutathione, and my liver enzymes were always off the charts when I was drinking. So that told me that alcohol is way worse for you in excess than most of the stuff that bodybuilders are using during contest prep.
Consistent is actually like not as toxic as it's made out to be.
Yeah, it's kind of bad.
Yeah, when it's prescribed. Like Anadrol is prescribed at like 100 milligrams a day for some people with like anemia. I've never taken that much personally.
Yeah.
Do you think oral L-glutathione is effective, PJ?
No, I think that you can do intramuscular, and it's fairly effective, but intravenous is the most efficient way to do it. High Tech came out. I think they may have. If they didn't come out with, Jared is working on an oral one that will be bioavailable with liposomal delivery. But, you know, there's a couple companies that are selling a liposomal version, and everything that I've read says that it's got to be intravenous. But you can definitely, I do a lot of IM shots with the glutathione now, just because I don't have all the access to stuff like I used to, as far as like, people giving me, free bags just to come over and say I'm going to their place. Nobody cares anymore. And so, I control it with the IM shots. But if you could go in. When I got out of the hospital in 2018, I drank myself into the hospital during my divorce, right? I got out of the hospital and they tested me for alcohol-induced hepatitis because my AST and ALT were both over 1,000.
Damn.
Crazy. I've never seen any numbers like that before, right? So I did a glutathione push, and I felt it was the worst I've ever felt. Like sometimes people say, "Oh, I get a little sick after glutathione." That whole night, I was pouring drenched sweat in the bed. When I went back in to get the blood work done again, because the doctors were monitoring me, I was already under 100 on both. And I did another one a couple weeks later, and I was back down to normal again.
Holy shit! Wait, isn't oral glutathione NAC? Isn't that what?
So N-acetylcysteine, when your body breaks it down, the conversion is supposed to increase the glutathione stores, but you have to take quite a bit of it to comparatively.
You can only convert so much.
Yeah,
it's a rate limited thing. So,
well, I just got the what is it called? Is bone joint and Stu probably knows
liver support. Yeah, that's what I use from the Biolab stuff. I was using a cc of that twice a week at the end of prep, and I was on all the fucking orals that you're usually on, and my liver enzymes were like barely over 100. Both.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
And typically, like, my liver enzymes will be like 60 to 80 deep. When I haven't touched orals in months. Yeah. Just because those are metabolites of muscular breakdown. I'm not saying that right, but big guys will always have slightly
big guys, especially that train hard. And depending on how you're eating, if you're eating higher protein, all that breakdown is going to have those numbers higher anyway.
How many cups you put? 2?
Yeah. So I think I'm a big fan of glutathione. Personally, I take it once a week now, just a cc once a week, but I'll do it twice a week when I'm in prep, and my liver was great.
Yeah, it's so beneficial. Yeah, it's good that you're doing.
This is my first time taking it. Honestly, I gotta be honest. In the past, I figured that who cares about the liver? It regenerates. You'll be okay. So I never really paid any mind. I was like 100, no problem. If it gets to 1,000, then we're gonna worry about it. But now I'm 32 now. I'm Uncle Beatty, right? So I'm trying to be more proactive of my health. So I got me 2 bottles of that. I don't even know how to take it. I gotta be honest with you, but I'm gonna get a protocol from Stu, and maybe I should get blood work.
I actually had liver enzymes in the thousands once as well. This was in like 2018 or 19. I hadn't touched orals in a year. Like literally, I had no idea. I felt totally fine. I have no idea what was going on. My guess is that it was some sort of acute hepatitis thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't induced by anything that I could tell. Like I said, I felt totally fine. I got my numbers checked a few weeks later, and it was down to like 300, and then it just went away. It was really weird because I just got my regular blood work done.
Yeah, I would believe that theory too, because what's the one that you can get rid of quick? Is it C? Because there's hepatitis A, B, and C.
I don't know much about
kids now for one of them, but there's one that you get and you have it forever. But then you can get an acute form of it. I'll probably wind up going and looking this up after. So for the enzymes to go up that high like that, and that could very well. That's a good theory.
All I can think of, because I got a liver ultrasound done. I was back home from college at my parents at the time, and like I told them about this, and they were like, "What the fuck?" So they told me to go into urgent care and get all checked out. Got an electrocardiogram done. I got ultrasound of all my organs done. Everything was fine, and so they just they just waited it out and it went back to normal. It was really weird.
Damn, well, if you guys don't want to end up like Stu, make sure you go to Biolabs and cop some what are they called, Stu? Yeah. I'm the worst athlete. Okay, yeah, joint liver support from Biolabs.
It's got glutathione in it, and it's also got N-acetyl D-glucosamine, which is like, the stuff that you take for your joints. But it's just an injectable form. So that's a nice little bonus.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I have no idea what was in it. I just know it was joint and liver, and my joints hurt, and my liver hurts. So I'm gonna take it and get some blood work, and hopefully those two stop hurting. But I'll probably should get blood work. I'll probably get blood work this week, and then use it, and then check the blood work just to make it a thing, right? So, you know, I think BioLab would probably appreciate that, unless it gets worse, they probably wouldn't. but God willing, inshallah, the shit gets better. And we'll be good. All right, y'all. How might start it today? All right, y'all. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate y'all.
Hey, thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, PJ.
Hey, PJ.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Had fun. Thank you very much.
PJ, are you going to be at the Olympia?
Not this year.
Okay.
They're watching him, man.
Yeah, next year. Maybe I may be able to get approved to go to the Arnold, but there's still a lot of restrictions on what I can and can't do. So,
Okay.
so
What happens if you just go anyways? You get in trouble?
oh man, I can't travel. Period, without getting it approved by my probation officer. So if I traveled and they found out, which good chance that they would, I would violate and most likely go back to prison. Yeah.
Man, they treat this man like fucking P. Diddy, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, I have to fill out like a whole form. Like, for instance, we want to go see her grandma's getting really old, and she's, I never met her, so I'd like to be able to meet her before she passes away. She's got cancer now, and so for me to just go to see her grandma because it's out of state, I have to fill out a whole paperwork, give them like my flight itinerary, all the information, and then I have to submit it. And then I have to wait to see if they approve it or not, which I assume they would for something like that. Yeah. But with the bodybuilding stuff, when I brought it up, they were like, will there be supplements there? And I'm like, yeah, I mean,
supplements.
They're like, well, you're really not allowed to be associated with anything involving dietary supplements. I'm like, but what if I just watched the show? So they're like, we'll have to talk about it with our supervisor. And
it's like, what's the risk of this? Like, what can you possibly do being around supplements? You're gonna hurt somebody?
Like, open up the containers and sprinkle shit in. Like,
you go put some shit in there.
So crazy.
You take some fucking pussy pro hormone, sprinkles. Like, what the fuck are you gonna do? God forbid.
But what's even worse is that everybody else from my case is allowed to work with supplements, but I didn't cooperate. So this is my extra punishment that they gave me.
Damn. Should I snitch, PJ? Should I say, if I were you, I would have been snitching on everybody. No, stop. No, I'm doing it.
They take care of you when you do that.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. All right, gentlemen. I'll catch y'all next week. Thanks for coming on, guys. Thanks, you, PJ. Thank you, Zayd.
Thank you.
Stu.
Thank you, guys.
I'll see you next time, Stu.